Jensen. The coffee is brewed, the donuts are fresh. It's time for the early game
Hey, will you guys let me know if this ever airs?
on 107.5 The Game.
Welcome in on a Tuesday morning, December the 7th.
Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, Patrick Pratt will be along
within the hour as he is busy this morning. That's all right. We are up and at 'em 6:05 on a Tuesday morning as we creep closer to Christmas and Santa Claus coming down the chimney and having the presents and stockings wrapped and stuffed and all the fun things that go along with the holiday season. Hope you're doing well this morning. Chilly out there, a little windy, so if you're getting up, getting moving around, be safe. Sit back, relax, head on into the office, grab a cup of coffee. We got you covered for the next 3 hours here as we roll along and slowly wrap up 2021 here on the early game. A lot going on. Last night got into a little bit of Monday night football. I was very invested because of the weather. I got to admit,
that's chilly.
Did you watch? Did you get to see some of the stuff going on there with the weather, the snow, and the wind in Buffalo last night?
Yeah, that looked pretty ugly.
I got to admit, I was actually pretty excited. I wasn't sure what direction I was going to go with the television last night. There wasn't a lot of college basketball. Hockey was, but I was going to get into a little bit of hockey. There wasn't a great. I didn't see a great Christmas movie on last night, and so I was a little undecided. And then about 6:30, I started seeing videos of reporters there in Orchard Park, and the snow coming down and the wind whipping. And there was a field goal that was kicked into one end of the end zone that probably was only about a 25-yarder, but it didn't even make it to the goalpost. It got blown backwards. I thought, I think I've got what I'm going to watch tonight. So I watched the first quarter with the Manning cast, and ended up flipping over. I didn't really care to watch their guests last night. So I ended up flipping over to watch the actual broadcast of the game. Watched about 2.5 quarters. Pretty entertaining little game. 14-10. The Patriots win last night to take control of the division there in the AFC conference. So the AFC East is just a crazy night last night there weather-wise. But a lot of fun. A lot of fun to sit in my living room or lay in my bed and watch the game and imagine what it was like there in Buffalo.
That's when you said it's kind of chilly this morning. I'm thinking, yeah,
nothing compared. I think it was 20. I think it was 23 was the actual.
And was that before the wind chill? Because with that wind, man, that's just brutal.
It looked rough. I don't disagree with you. It looked very rough last night. So
I don't miss that at all.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So we had that going on last night. Other than that, kind of a quiet night in sports. In terms of college football yesterday, just another day. Another day on the coaching carousel as Mario Cristobal leaves the University of Oregon to be the University of Miami's head football coach. We're going to get into that a little bit this morning because Jen, and I'm interested to get your take, I'm interested to get Patrick's take, I'm interested to get everybody's take on this because it is fascinating to me what is going on in college football right now. 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. As always, you can jump up and join us. You don't have to be seen, but we are being seen. You can check out Jen and I on the Buford Lending live stream. You can go to the 107.5 The Game YouTube page and tune in. You can go to our Facebook page. DC, LeVar, Roger, Decor, Anthony, and our good buddy Jim Corley in Carolina Beach, all up with us this morning and saying hello. And you can weigh in as well there on the Buford Lending live stream, or again with a text message on the Cool Care Heating and Air text lines. You can call in this morning on the Love Chevy phone lines, 803-404-6100. But Mario Cristobal yesterday, another example of what's happening in college football. And I don't know if this is good. I don't know if it bothers your feelings about college football. I don't know where money comes into play. But the college football contracts, more so now than ever, to me, and I don't want to use the term like out of control because I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it. I don't know if saying, oh, these contracts are out of control and they got to be stopped. I don't know if I mean it that way. But Mario Cristobal looks like he is going to sign an $8 million a year deal. That's at least the numbers being reported as of now. An $8 million a year deal to take over the University of Miami. He'll leave Oregon, where he's been at. Now, he is a Miami alumnus. He went to school there, played football there, has been an assistant coach there. There are ties there that cause him to go back home. But you look at the coaching contracts that are being handed out at this point in time. When you see Lane Kiffin get a $7.5 million deal, and you see Billy Napier at 7.2, and Billy Napier at 7.2 is only the fifth highest paid coach in the SEC. Where are we going with these college football contracts? Remember, years ago, people were saying, well, there's going to be a coaching contract bubble. What was being given to assistant coaches? $1 million contracts to offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, and then it went on to $2 million, and you're seeing an increase. It's really fascinating to me where the sport of college football is going financially, because some of these mega deals, they look like mega deals now. What Lincoln Riley just received, what you've seen Brian Kelly now go over the $10 million a year mark. Obviously, Nick Saban is still in the realm of $9 million. Dabo Swinney, we know, is in $9 million territory. Kirby Smart it is absolutely insane to me to see where we're going. But I think the bigger question is, where exactly are we going with this crazy contract situation? You very Chris weighs in. He says the money isn't too crazy. It's the length of the contract that's out of control. And maybe it's just a new era of college football. We'll get into that as we go through the morning. Again, that was your big kind of college football news yesterday. Mario Cristobal leaving Oregon to take the job at Miami. You know what Miami just did with Manny Diaz was wrong. It was unfair. They basically told him, "Hey, you got a job until Mario Cristobal wants your job. If he wants it, you're out. You're out on the street, buddy."
Yeah, and he commented.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so we'll get more into that. We'll get more into that this morning as we go along. Again, that was your big college football news. Other than that, relatively quiet day. There was an interesting article on Sports Illustrated last night naming the top offensive coordinator candidates for the Carolina Panthers. And there was a name on that list that, well, South Carolina fans, you might be very interested to know who that name was. We'll get into that as well. Maybe a surprise name is how I would label it, with some ties to Matt Rule. You got to figure out who I'm talking about just by me kind of teasing it already. But 803-404-6100. Again, if you want to weigh in this morning, you can do so. If you want to talk more about the upcoming bowl matchups, South Carolina and North Carolina and Duke's Mayo Bowl, 11:30 on December 30th up in Charlotte. We got into that a little bit yesterday. So much happened over the weekend that we were a little scattered yesterday. We were never completely focused on one topic, be it the Alabama-Georgia game from this past weekend, be it Brent Venables going to Oklahoma, be it the bowl matchup that popped up, South Carolina and North Carolina. We'll start to focus a little bit more in on that South Carolina and North Carolina bowl matchup there and what it will mean. Some Sam Howell news coming out yesterday, although nothing official from him, or at least no statement from Sam Howell officially stating whether he will or will not play in the bowl game. Just speculation on the part of some national beat writers and from North Carolina's beat writers that I saw stating that they would be very surprised if Sam Howell did not participate in this particular bowl game. So we'll get into all that. A lot to go through this morning. Patrick Brett will join us here in just a little while. Jensen and I, we've got you taken care of as well. Some information to get to you on a transfer from South Carolina that had an interesting year for the Gamecocks, defensive transfer. So again, a lot that we'll get into here as we go through the next 3 hours here before we turn you over to Dan Patrick at 9 a.m. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines right off the bat. No need to wait any longer. Gamecock Larry on hold patiently in his thoughts on his mind. He's ready to get out. Gamecock Larry, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay, but I'm going to say something now that I'll tell you. I wish that every team that would pay their head coach above $3 million a year, above $3 million a year, and I still think that's too much for a coach, would have a losing season. Number two, the deal with Miami. I just hope Mark Rich don't have nothing else to do with that. I have nothing to do with that. But the way they done Manny Diaz, have him out on a recruiting trip. Get a hold of Cristobal. Say, you got until 12 o'clock tomorrow to let us know whether you want the job or not, whether you're going to take it. If you're not going to take it, we're gonna keep Diaz. That was the sorriest piece of whatever you want to call it. That was something else. Keeping a man on the job, knowing you're gonna fire him if you got another man in your pocket that you can sign. And number 3, how old is Cutcliffe? He's pretty old, isn't he?
I'm going to guess 63, 67. He just turned 67 back on September 16th is what the Wikipedia page is telling me. So 67 years of age.
Well, boy, I tell you what, he's pretty old, but if he could come in there and be our offensive coordinator and take one of them young offensive guys we got on that staff and teach him and train him, and then when he steps down in a couple of years, that guy could take over offensive coordinator. We'd be good. We'd have a young staff ready to go. We're going to be all right. We're going to be in the Final Four in 2024. Go Gamecock.
Oh, Gamecock Larry fired up this morning and ready to go. Multiple points and stayed on topic with all 3 of them. Jen, yeah, I don't know. Look, again, he says $3 million is too high for a college football coach. If you're not making $3 million, and right now Shane Beamer is not making $3 million, but you are way behind the times. I'm going to be interested to see. I don't think South Carolina next year or this offseason will give Shane Beamer a raise. Maybe something small if he wins the bowl game. I think they will keep this more in line here for a little bit with what they feel they owe him right off the bat. But man, I tell you, $3 million, and I'm not picking on Gamecock Larry. That's the old school mentality, because right now it feels like the baseline number for college football coaches, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, 803-404-6100 is going to be $4 million. $4 million is almost going to be the starting point for a Power 5 head coaching position, and maybe it should be even closer to $5 million. It's crazy to see what schools are doing now with the television revenue that's coming in, with revenue from the fan bases, and now you're going to be expected to perform even quicker. As Newberry Chris pointed out on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, it's the link to the contracts. Yeah, they're going to give you long contracts to make sure you feel like you're getting your money. But, Jen, it's going to be kind of one of those situations where they're also going to expect you to perform much quicker than maybe 20 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, where you were given time to build a program.
Well, and I'm wondering, how are the buyouts being structured? Because if they're really not giving you as much time to get things done, they obviously don't want to pay on the back end. Like, okay, we're giving you 2 years to make things happen. Are they really going to want a $13 million buyout, or, whatever the case may be? Like that's not cost effective either. So pay them big on the up front, but what are the buyouts looking like?
I would imagine that look, coaches, agents are smart enough to know how to negotiate those things in to make sure that their clients are going to get 75, 80% of what's due to them, almost like a guaranteed NFL contract that you're going to get your money for regardless. Now you can go to, mediation there after you get fired. I mean, I think Will Muschamp could have done that, but basically his contract was pretty ironclad, and he was going to walk away with his 12 or $15 million.
That still blows my mind, because I can promise you, I don't have that negotiated here. If I leave or I'm fired, I'm not getting 3 years salary or something. Why is it worth it to them if they don't perform? Why are they due what's remaining in the contract?
That's the way it's structured. That's the way that the college football economy is set up right now, and it's crazy. Again, it's not that Mario Cristobal. I was going to talk about this yesterday, or I was going to bring it up more and more as you watched what happened over the weekend. The Billy Napier one is the one that kind of surprises me. $7.2 million. Is that a fair amount for him? I don't know. I thought it was high. I feel like 2 years ago, Billy Napier taking the Florida job would have been a $4 million contract. And that would have been what I would have thought was a lot of money for Billy Napier then. 7.2, basically what he's getting now. I mean, think about it. That's compared to the coaches that he's up there with.
Mhm.
It's a lot of money for Billy Napier. And that was the one that caught me off guard over the weekend. Yeah, Lincoln Riley's contract is absurd, but that Southern Cal shooting their shot. They're making their move. Brian Kelly's contract is absurd. It really is. $10 million a year for a guy who's never even been to a national championship. Well, I guess he's been to one in the BCS era, but hasn't been during the college football playoff era. That's a ton of money for that guy to go down there, and the pressure that's going to be put on him early on. And then you see these other contracts that are coming up. Brent Venables, I've not seen a number on Brent Venables' contract.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I've not seen the contract numbers put out on him just yet. The only one that's still up is that, he was making $2.5 million a year at Clemson, but I have yet to see a number on Brent Venables, and that's going to be another interesting one. A guy who's a first-time head coach in Oklahoma who has money. What are the Sooners willing to pay him? Well, you see Brent Venables just come right out of the chute with $5 million. And if that's the case, I would not be surprised at all. And I guess big picture, 803-404-6100, big picture here, like, how do you see it impacting college football long term? What do you see from college football long term? Because right now, this sport is evolving at a rapid pace. If you go back to the beginning of August and our learning of Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC, and the SEC trying to almost overtake college football as a whole, you see what's happening now with the transfer portal. Both South Carolina and Clemson losing guys to the transfer portal. Yesterday was South Carolina's linebacker / safety Jamar Brown, who unfortunately is remembered right now for dropping the football before he could cross the goal line earlier this season. But Jamar Brown entering the transfer portal. How is this sport evolving, and do you like it? Do you see this becoming a fun, more competitive sport with more parity amongst the Power 5 schools? 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. We'll get to some more of the text messages on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Again, weighing in, you can do that on the Buford Lending live stream if you would like to do that. RL, Craig, all up with us this morning. Craig saying these teams have lost their freaking minds. It's getting absurd as well. RL saying I would not be surprised if Venables is north of $6 million. So, again, a lot of people weighing in. If you want to do the same, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning here. Or you can join in on the Buford Lending live stream. It's your own little chat in there. You can get in there, mix it up with some of our special, what do we want to call them? Fans, hosts. They're all hosts. They're all really hosts. Robin, Anthony, Decor, Jim, they all join in and add their own takes, and we get to those as well. So you can join there on the Buford Lending live stream. Consultants, yes. Constituents,
or
I believe I used one time.
What are like field reporters called? Or
I believe they're called field reporters.
No, well, isn't there another term for it? I'm like, head is clogged. We'll come up with a really good name for them. We need to come up with something that, because they're part of a squad.
Gotcha. I see where you're going with that. We will work on that through the month of December.
It takes us a month to come up with a word.
Yeah,
so just know that.
We're a very educational program. Math, geography, sometimes mayonnaise, mustard, and ketchup. You get the point. A lot of information you gather when you listen to the early game. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, Patrick Perrette will be along here shortly. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
More of the early game coming up on 107.5 The Game.
Love Chevrolet. You've heard me talk about them a lot. They are some incredible people out there. They do a fantastic job taking care of me each and every time I visit, whether it's I'm looking for a new vehicle or whether I'm getting my car serviced. I can trust the folks at Love Chevrolet. And right now, they are still your inventory leader. And great news, Love Chevrolet Silverados, one of the best trucks in the entire world. They are back in stock. What you will not find on those trucks are the ridiculous add-on stickers that you see at other dealerships. Love Chevrolet is not suddenly tacking on extra add-ons to take advantage of their customers during the time of high demand and low supply. Love Chevrolet, it is business as usual, providing the absolute largest selection, lowest price guaranteed, and always treating you, the customer, with the utmost respect and integrity. That is why they continue to be South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. They've been doing it for over 60 years staying in business. And again, it is the loyalty to their customers that makes Love Chevrolet stand apart. The way they treat you from the moment you drive on the lot to the moment you leave, Love Chevrolet is going to make you feel comfortable with your new purchase. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Go see Love Chevrolet, the family-owned dealership that offers an award-winning service department plus new Love Chevrolet Silverados without all the add-on sticker price. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Okay, from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com. No accidents to report at this time, and hope it stays that way for your Tuesday morning commute. And looking for a high today of 54, going to be cloudy and breezy. Tomorrow, looking for some showers in the morning and a high of 57. Right now, it's, like I said, a little bit breezy, cloudy, 55 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Discover. Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. It's amazing because Discover is accepted at 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report limitations apply.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and Navage? And should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug, it's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Over 2 million sold.
How about now? Patrick's like our mini streaming engineer. Patrick's the one that figures out the he's our mini streaming engineer each and every morning. It's easier for me to do this. You should be able to hear me now with no problem. Yeah. See their orders on Facebook and Instagram. Then call 803-948-8327. Set up an appointment. That's right. They make house calls. Change how you do everything at home when you call my good friend. He'll be in. RL, he's coming in just a little while. He was just running behind this morning. So he was just running behind. Yeah, he'll be in. He'll be in just a little while. Sorry, got a lot going on here. Got a lot going on. Well, Muschamp got his money. You can't argue with a guy getting his money. I mean, he didn't screw anybody. We're all paid what we're worth. Morning.
Morning.
Oh, you look good already. Take your time. Get situated. We're all good. There is still time to go to Ticketmaster.com and purchase your tickets for Trans-Siberian Orchestra tomorrow night, Wednesday, December 8th, at Colonial Life Arena. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity aiming to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Go and purchase tickets. They're on sale now. Ticketmaster.com. Trans-Siberian Orchestra tomorrow night. December 8th. It's at 7:30 tomorrow night. I know because will be in attendance. It'll be at the Colonial Life Arena. Again, tickets on sale now. Go to Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity aiming to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. Gene weighs in. All this money. I'm in the wrong line of work. DJ weighing in. I feel like the Mel Tucker extension is going to throw contracts turn that off for a second. Sky high for the next couple of years. And yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is right now. I mean, these contracts are going to be absolutely ridiculous, and that's kind of where I'm going with that this morning.
As we go through the morning, I'm amazed at how much these contracts are now rising significantly and quickly for coaches. Again, I'll be interested to see RL weighed in right there before the end of the last segment. And I read it, but again, he's expecting Brent Venables to be in the $6 million range. It's hard to guess. First-time head coach, but major university. Who knows what Brent Venables will end up being with? And you know what? Roger weighs in and says, Muschamp worked over several schools, not just us. You know what? Yeah, Muschamp got overpaid to lose a lot of football games, but it was the athletic directors, both Jeremy Foley at Florida and obviously Ray Tanner here, that gave him the money. You can't blame Will Muschamp for being bad at his job, or at least not in terms of how he got money. And Patrick Pratt joining us this morning. Welcome in. Good to see you. You look happy. You look joyful. You're in the wrong line of work, just like I am. We should have gone into college football coaching. But what do you make of the way these contracts are now working out?
Well, this offseason was one where it jumped up substantially, right? I got the impression that it's just the competition to keep people now and to pry people away from a job, like to pry Lincoln Riley away from a job where he was presumably pretty happy at Oklahoma, and to pry Brian Kelly away from a job where he was presumably happy, the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame. You were going to have to make them a ridiculous offer, like make them an offer they can't refuse, and then you end up paying guys $10 to $15 million a year when they have never coached at your school. And if you want a sure thing, I mean, that's the weird part. The sure thing is one thing. If you're hiring Jimbo Fisher, who's won a national championship, if you're hiring Brian Kelly, who's won 10 and 11 games every year at Notre Dame for the last 5+ years, Lincoln Riley, who is one of the best coaches in college football, that's one thing. But the Billy Napier being $7 million, he's never been a head coach at the Power 5 level. You have no idea what to expect if he's going to translate to Florida. Never coached in that state, I don't think. So that's a little bit that's where I'm confused. Like, at what point is it too much? I mean, these contracts grow and the money always gets bigger. In every sport, that's kind of the case. You know, contracts in the NFL will only get bigger. NBA contracts are only getting bigger. I think Steph Curry has signed two $200 million deals. So the money is ridiculous. But when you're dealing with mostly public institutions, is there ever going to be a point where we say enough is enough? And okay, well, now we've gotten to the point where a coach is making $20 million a year. This is where we have to cut it off. We can't possibly justify $20 million a year. And is it going to affect teams? Are they going to have to hold on to coaches too long because they can't afford the buyouts because the buyouts are going to be so ridiculous? Or are we just going to we're going to be spending up like $30 million a year in one coaching search?
There's a couple thoughts I have. You're right. I wonder what the buyouts will actually will end up being. That'll be kind of fascinating to see.
Is that what it's going to be? It's going to be, hey, $10 million a year, but we can't give you your buyout can't be $50 million.
I would assume so. Although, look, most coaches, I don't know if they're still going to go for that contract because at the end of the day, what they'll end up saying is like, hey, I'm on the hook. You're supposed to owe me. I think I was trying to go back and find the exact numbers on Mario Cristobal's contract yesterday that I believe was it was absolutely ridiculous. It's looking at here's the other thing about Cristobal's, and it's not money that he'll get, and it's kind of interesting to see Miami doing this. Miami, his contract is going to be in the range of $8 million annually, but Miami's also going to fork out the $9 million buyout to Oregon.
Yeah.
So Oregon's making $9 million out of this, and you better believe Oregon with Nike money and Phil Knight money is looking around going, hey, who are we about to go pluck? We got to keep this thing up. We were just in contention for the college football playoff. Oregon's now in the market. By the way, Brian McClendon, for those of you out there wondering, will be the interim head coach for Oregon here during their bowl game where they play Oklahoma with interim head coach Bob Stoops. But the bottom line is you look at this, Patrick, and it really is kind of interesting to see it developing financially. And I think the big picture is, where are we going with college football? And, I kind of brought it up in a conversation I had over the weekend regarding Dabo Swinney when OU Insider was putting out what I believe was ridiculous information that Dabo and Oklahoma talks were heating up. I don't know if the Oklahoma Insider guys just were spending too much time at their local watering hole or who they were talking to. But if Oklahoma had come into the picture for $12 million for Dabo Swinney, if they'd have said $12 million, and I don't know this, Clemson fans, you're better able to answer this question than I am. Could Clemson have matched $12 million for Dabo Swinney? What is the ceiling right now for non-ACC Big Ten teams? Because that's where non-SEC Big Ten teams, that's where the money's at. Cincinnati's going to the Big 12 right now. And I really, truly believe, Patrick, the only reason Luke Fickell is still going to be at Cincinnati next year is because nobody's going to wait until January 5th to try and hire Luke Fickell. Like, Luke Fickell's stuck at Cincinnati. But the bottom line is that's because he's not going – I think Luke Fickell, to me, 803-404-6100, Luke Fickell is a guy of high character, and I don't think he's going to have his program twisting in the wind while he's trying to play in the biggest event that program's ever played at. Cincinnati's been in a Final Four before. This tops that tenfold by playing in the college football playoff. He's not going to put his program in that situation. But can Cincinnati throw $6-7 million at Luke Fickell, even now as they go to play in the Big 12 here in the years to come?
Well, I'm trying to look. I mean, I think I'm reading right now, each conference receives $6 million from the college football playoff for each team selected for a semifinal game. Like, how much is a national championship worth to a school? Is it like $20 million? I mean, I don't really know when you factor in everything that goes into making the playoff between being in the game and the boost it gives you in recruiting or everything like that. Like, Nick Saban is probably worth $20 million to Alabama, right? Like, just from everything they get out of him being there, being the premier game of the week every single week, and being number one. I mean, and with Luke Fickell, if they truly believe that the reason Cincinnati is where they are is pretty much solely because of Luke Fickell, can you afford to lose him? I mean, you're relevant nationally on a scale that you've never been before, and you're about to go to a Power 5 conference, and you've got all sorts of momentum. And is he the only guy that can steer that ship and make them, like, can they go in and be the favorite in the Big 12 right away? They probably will be if Oklahoma and Texas are. If you take Oklahoma and Texas out of the Big 12, it's probably Oklahoma State, Baylor, and then Cincinnati would be the top dogs if that's how it was looking right now. I mean, can you afford to not be relevant anymore by just firing him and promoting some assistant that nobody knows and then you fall back into the middle of the pack and you're just an average to below average Power 5 team. I mean, that costs you a lot of money.
I'll throw another school at you that's going to be interesting to follow here because they're having success, but their coach is being mentioned for other big names. It's a private school. Maybe they have a lot of money. Maybe have a huge endowment. I have no idea. I don't know where they would get their money. Baylor. Dave Aranda is a name that started being thrown around prominently. What we're seeing is the market kind of being set here for the coming years. And RL weighs in on the Buford Lending live stream. He says in 2 years, $10 million a year will be the floor for coaches at Power 5 programs. 803-404-6100. That's kind of my question and where I'm going with this. And we'll make it a little bit more broad here. Where do you see college football going? Because one thing I think we all agree on, name, image, likeness was one thing. And yesterday, I'll get to this other story here in a minute. The Texas offensive lineman. Did you see the new name, image, likeness deal for the Texas offensive lineman?
What's it? The whole offensive line? Something about $50,000 to charities.
Well, it'll go to them, but it's in. I'll get to that. I'll get to that story here in just a minute. But all I'm going with this is I don't think any of us want college football to become all about the money. You want. There's no way we can say that college football is a pure innocent sport. We probably haven't been able to say that for a very long time. But you can't say college football is a pure sport now. It's all about the love of the game. This is now turning into money. But I don't think we want our college football turning into a essentially fifth professional league along with NHL, MLB, NBA, and NFL. Like you want college football to be its own entity, but now you see the money being thrown around to college football coaches. You see the name, image, likeness. It's interesting, and that's kind of when I start to see these football contracts and the repercussions of these football contracts, like you just talked about, the buyouts. You talk about the longevity, how quickly we're going to be. How long does Lincoln Riley get? How long does Lincoln Riley get in Southern Cal? If he's not in the college football playoff in 4 years, it's a failure, right? He's an absolute failure if Southern Cal.
I mean, he's going to have the most talented roster in the Pac-12 probably next year. I mean, it's not going to take long. He's already flipped so many players. I mean, they're going to have the most 5 stars of any team in the Pac-12 next year. I mean, maybe you give him a year or two to develop, but you're going to have probably a ready-made quarterback. I don't know who it'll be. I assume Keaton Slovis is not coming back, or I don't know what the deal is going to be there. But yeah, 4 years is absolutely. They're probably going to get Eli Ricks. I saw he was on a visit there yesterday. The corner from LSU. I mean, they're going to be stacked right away. It shouldn't. Maybe you give them 1 year to get everything implemented and get the foundation of your program built, and then it's time to go for it. Yeah.
803-404-6100. Rooster P weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. He says, morning from your roving reporter checking in from Louisiana. Paying these coaches doesn't help the cost of tuition.
I think correspondent was the word you were looking for.
Well, but we want something more fitting of this show. It was something a little bit more, the maybe what is it, the Baconators?
Yeah, it has to be something
used.
like correspondent was definitely more the direction I was
Right,
going.
yeah,
But now it's like, okay, how do we personalize that to the show?
Yeah, the microwavable bacons. I don't know. You get the point. The liver puddings in honor of Gamecock Larry.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will sign up for that.
Nah, it's just out there. Just a thought. 803-404-6100. Anonymous texter. Money ruins everything. It's eventually going to spiral out of control. Yeah, I mean, that's...
RL just commented on the live stream. An NFL coach earns $6.7 million annually on average, with 10 head coaches making at least $8 million a year. I was under the impression that NFL coaches weren't making that much more than college coaches, but Pro Football Talk put out an article the other day that it's actually a lot bigger than we think. And Bill Belichick we believe to be the highest paid head coach at over $20 million a year. So I think the numbers are actually much larger in the NFL than we actually realize. I think most coaches are making over $10 to $15 million a year, or good ones.
803-404-6100. We can get into this a little bit because it is interesting. Richard weighs in. 3 years on a coach, max. Kentucky is the exception because Stoops had to build from the ground up. Should not have to wait 5 or 6 years on a coach to turn around a program at a high-profile school that has resources and recruits. Every good coordinator isn't a leader. sometimes they're just good at one thing and need to stick to that. Manny Diaz had his shot and needs to be gone. So I don't know if I agree with that. We'll follow that path of thinking there. Very interesting to hear that. 803-404-6100. A lot of you weighing in. We will continue down this path here. College football, Mario Cristobal taking a deal. And I'll tell you about this Texas offensive lineman national or name, image, likeness deal that popped out yesterday. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Dan Patrick. Weekdays, 9 until noon.
Talking about staying clean or getting that house clean for the upcoming holiday season. You probably got some Christmas parties that you need lined up. Now is the time to get in touch with Zero Res. If you haven't been in touch with them, well, give them a phone call today. You need to get them out to your house. And here's the great part. If you mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, not only can you get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $119, but you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. That's right. Call Zero Res today, and you can get in touch with them to get that taken care of. 803-262-4020. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res cleans with their patented ZR water technology that uses high pH electrolyzed water, not harsh chemicals. No stoky, you hear me, I'm losing it right now. No sticky, soapy residue is left behind. Again, the technology that is so incredible, it's scientifically proven to get your carpet, rugs, tile, and upholstery insanely clean. Trust me, I've used Zero Res for family events coming up. I cannot recommend them enough. Give Zero Res a phone call today, 803-262-4020. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you can get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online, ZeroResColumbia.com, or again, give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Early game degenerates. All right, that's one. Yep, that's another one. How you feel this morning? Looks like you went extra coffee or different.
The front of my head is like right at the top. It's pounding. I don't know what from.
Ooh, soccer ball to the nose. We sweat the details and quality of every print project. Stop by Staples and try our print fit promise. We're committed to getting your print job right, to treating your small business like a big deal, and guiding you from start to finish. Get 20% off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends January 1st. Visit staples.com/services/printing for details. Staples, where small business participants. You constantly making you more often than your alarm clock. The fact is, the older you get, the more likely you'll have prostate problems. All right. Let's go. Busy night though.
Shop on eBay to get more. up on tech and gaming gear. Get more and save more on premium brands with eBay's exclusive deals.
Shepherd's Glass gets you to work and home safely every Monday through Friday with the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. 107.5 The Game provides the sports talk you want, while the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center provides the safe route you want.
All right. Good night last night. I took a 6-point teaser with the Patriots +9 and the under of 46. Could have just taken the under of 46 and the Patriots money line. But then I took the Avalanche -1.5 against the Flyers. And I took the Stars over the Coyotes in a parlay.
You want a teaser and a parlay?
So I won a teaser and a parlay. It was a nice little evening to get the week started. I had not really done anything lately. No guesting, no Perry had something to do, and Skarnecki was going to join us, but he had an exam, so he might join us later in the week. We got Brad Crawford on Thursday. Tomorrow, if you don't want to come in tomorrow, if you just want to sleep, I've got it's up to you. Brian Rosen, Joe Pollock, Mike. I need to see if Pollock's going to come in. The guys from the Bojangles or from the Bash are coming in.
When are they coming in?
Huh?
What time are they coming in?
7:30. We'll only go to about 7:30 to about 8:15 or something like that.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios, Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate. Uneven concrete can be a dangerous.
A lot of good points. Yeah, Chad. I mean, it's crazy how a year ago is pay cuts and everything, and now. No, Travis, I don't think that McClendon has a shot. I think they're gonna go try and hire. I've seen Chip Kelly's name being thrown around for that job, bringing him back.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 Game. Shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Download the TuneIn app so you can take 107.5 The Game with you wherever you go. And now back to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Cruising through a Tuesday morning, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, 6:52. Hope you're up and ready to go here on December 7th. What was this? 60 years ago? Is my math correct on that? Is that right? 80. Gosh, yeah, I was asking 80 years ago. Today is the bombing of Pearl Harbor. So I look up and some television shows on that. 80 years ago. You're right. 60. I don't. As we said previously, math, geography, not the strength of this program. A lot of people say, what are exactly the strengths of this program? But 80 years ago today. So thoughts and prayers with those who either had relatives that were involved in that event, or if you're still alive from that event. Certainly a crazy day in our history, December 7th, 1941. Mm-hmm. 803-404-6100, talking about coaching contracts. Next hour, we'll get into some of the, all right, you got the coaching contracts. Now what's the expectation for time limit to rebuild a program? Travis has a very good question on the Buford Lending live stream, or a good point. He says it should only take a program 2 to 3 years. It should only take a coach 2 to 3 years to turn around a program. You should see progress during that time. but 4 or 5 years is more of a reality. Now the portal does help speed up the process. So we'll start asking. You look at a guy like Shane Beamer, who in his first year goes 6-6. Say what you want about the schedule, but they do show improvement. They got a chance for a winning year. You look at these coaches coming in. Billy Napier. I don't know if Billy Napier is turning around a program. Patrick, is he?
I think he's restabilizing, probably.
Restabilizing. Dennis weighs in. A lot of these schools forking out mega money are going to be disappointed. James Franklin, $7.5 million. Please. Mel Tucker, $9 million after 1 year. Billy Napier, $7 million. Look at Texas A&M and Jimbo. Been there 4 years and has not played an SEC championship game. Think all that money is happy with Jimbo? What should Saban be making? $20 million per year? Yeah, it's a lot of money. James Franklin, I forget about him. Mel Tucker, whoo. Well, we're all in it together, everybody. None of us listening, I believe, are college coaches. If you are, well, lucky you.
Yeah,
lucky you. Okay. We'll continue on. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. It's true. Saban and his Aflac money. RL, I don't think they give Brian McClendon a shot. Come on, Robin, get it together. Got to get those kids ready up for school.
If you are a loved one who diagnosed with cancer, uses Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months, call now. Never stop taking medication without first consulting a physician. Call right now for a free consultation. Call 800-379-9550. 800-379-9550. So the dream was to build your very own law practice. Be your own boss, call all the shots. But if things like billing, HR, keeping it all together, management stuff turn your dream into a nightmare, take charge of your practice with Lexicon. We're the intersection of practice management software and legal support. Breathe easier in your home. Zero limit ear judgment. Right now, visit the Joe Better website 5 days. You can get $30 off the next ear judgment plus 15% off filter for your money. Schedule online at zerolimit.com. The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to be any written offer by $500. That's right, we'll be any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
There you go, big guy. Hold it again. Yeah. American Underdog will not be a movie that I ever try to watch.
Lower than paying driver insurance. Let Giles Brothers Insurance help you enjoy your classic car. Visit GilesBrothers.com. That's GILES Brothers.com. Fixing a terrible accident turned by upside down. You're proud to employ your car during the toughest moments. I'm Jason Webb. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death. Nice to see you. I'm good.
No, it was Bill W. was telling a story about his father-in-law. He did salvage work for the Arizona.
Oh, really?
And he said that there was a Hawaiian guy that would dive down as they were, diving down to get stuff, and they were monitoring the lines. And he said every time the dude came up, he had alcohol in his breath. And I was like, he what? Getting. Well, apparently on the ship there was a liquor cabinet. And they weren't bringing it up, but he would go down there, turn off his airline or whatever, so quick enough that he could somehow get a sip of whatever, and then doing his stuff. It's like, yeah, it's crazy.
That kind of diver.
Yeah, no kidding. But it's like, I'm not going to tell anybody that there's alcohol down there. I'm not going to bringing it up, but I'm sorry. I'm not gonna dive for liquor. I'll just find it, or like I'll feel it. Cause that deep sea diving thing is scary shit.
I thought it was supposed to warm back up. Well, I guess pretty quickly, but 3 days in the 50s and definite rain tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll just point it in my daughter's definitely not. She's a little more dramatic about things. She's like, call me in 2 minutes. I'm like, kind of busy. Well, I got a crack in my windshield. Okay. Well, I mean, a rock hit it, but then it's grown. Okay. Well, I need to figure out how to get it fixed. What's your work schedule? Well, and all this and solutions. So I said, well, send me a picture of the thing. I said, it's not going to be below freezing. It's not going to be 105, so you're not going to have a lot of expansion. It should be fine for quite a while. She sent me a picture.
Is it that big?
Oh my God, really? And you're like keeping people alive? You scare me. Like,
Safe play.
well, and that's what I told her. I said, safe place. So then come to you. Is there any place in the hospital parking lot?
Yeah.
Well, not that they can get to. Okay.
You just gotta move your car to where they go.
Yeah, right. And she's, well, I can't even get my key down there, which is true. It's not like we could run outside. She's not that flexible.
Right.
At 10 o'clock, she could have somebody coding, so she can't like stop chest compression to take the key out. But
Probably not.
oh my God, real quick. So the other day, she and another gal were going down from ICU to the emergency room to bring a patient up, and they get the woman on the elevator, and the woman codes, and they're like, oh my God, she did not have any kind of bracelet to say she was DNR. They couldn't get to the book, and they're like, okay, well, we don't know if she's DNR or not, so they got to start some chest compressions while the girls under the cart trying to find the book, where they put all the papers and stuff. The DNR thing was like 7 pages deep. It should have been like right in the front, so that you could like quick look. They had to find it. So I mean, she was doing chest compressions probably 20, 30 seconds on her. You know how hard, that breaks ribs and shit. And they find the DNR paperwork. So I mean, they stopped, but they felt terrible. And then the woman kind of like opened her eyes a little bit, and I guess in a faint voice she said, "Why did you do that to me?" And she died. Megan's like, but I mean, if you don't know what to do, I mean,
DNR is do not resuscitate.
Yeah, but I mean, if she wasn't a DNR, they needed to try to save her.
Wow. Okay.
I know, right? So I was like, I'll keep this job.
Okay.
I'm trying to get into 2 breaks.
Okay.
says if they produce a good product, it is worth it. But Muschamp actually made $1 million a win. So, yeah, I think he made a little bit more, $1 million a win. But I get your point there. Robert weighs in. Patrick, do you think the NCAA cap public institutions, or would that fall to state legislators? At some point, public institutions have to be kept in check. Robert, I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know if it can go that way with almost instituting a salary cap on the coaches moving forward. I do think it's a public institution thing. We kind of saw that with some buyout scenarios back in the spring, and South Carolina trying to get out of some contracts, and people questioning, where are you getting this money from? And then turn around and asking us for money to pay for I think it was a medical school is what was being asked at
You'll
the time.
never be able to tell the universities how they can spend their money, right? I mean, it's just different schools will prioritize spending their money in different ways, right? Like LSU's always going to spend more than they can probably afford to spend on their football coach, and that's just always going to be the way it is.
So, yeah, again, how schools spend money.
And you can't, like, the weirdest thing, the head coaching position at Notre Dame has this common knowledge. I noticed it on Twitter, and I'd never heard of it before. Do you know what is the name of the head coaching position?
You know what? I actually knew this, and it's just one of those things that you see like in a morning, and it was irrelevant at the time. I don't remember now, but it is a sponsored position.
Yeah. So on Marcus Freeman's Twitter, his bio and then his picture says the Dick Corbett head coach of Notre Dame football.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and I guess Dick Corbett's just some rich dude that endowed $35 million for the head coaching position at Notre Dame. So now coach to coach just is the Dick Corbett head coach. I mean, can we get to that point? Like, can a booster just donate money for the head coach? Can a rich person in Columbia say, I want this is embarrassing. I want Shane Beamer to make $5 million. Here's $10 million. Pay it directly to Shane.
That's a good question. I don't know. We're learning. It's.
If I wanted to donate money, if I won the Powerball and I said, hey, I have $20 million that I want to give, and this is what I want you to do with it, would they do exactly what I wanted with it?
I don't know. I don't have that kind of money to give to the university to direct them to.
I mean, do they tell you? Do they tell you, hey, sorry, like you'll donate it to the Gamecock Club, and we'll divvy it out?
I know with the Gamecock Club in particular, and correct me if I'm completely wrong on this, Clemson fans, but if I understand the difference, IPTAY is not officially affiliated with Clemson University. I believe IPTAY, and again, Clemson fans, correct me, I've never been an IPTAY member, so I'm speaking a little out of turn, but I've done enough talking with people that I think I have this correctly, but correct me if I'm wrong. IPTAY is not officially affiliated with Clemson in the sense that if IPTAY wants to donate a particular amount of money to a certain cause, to put graphics in a locker room or in a hallway, if they're like, hey, we're donating $5 million to put national championship graphics up and down the hallway in the recruiting section, or whatever, to redo all the graphics, we want, then that money, because IPTAY says it, has to go to that project. I'm pretty certain if you donate money to the Gamecock Club could say, well, we won't, and I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just saying the Gamecock Club decides where exactly the money can go. If they want to buy new saddles for the horses for the equestrian team, the Gamecock Club decides where the money goes, whereas I think I'm right on this. I think I'm right. Somebody, if I'm wrong, correct me, because it could be a learning morning for me. IPTAY can specifically say what they want the money to go to. I thought it was that way at one time. I don't think that is. I think that is still the case, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure the ins and outs of the actual when you donate, how Clemson and South Carolina are different there. But I know I was always under the impression IPTAY is a private club that is not technically connected to the university. Like, I think you have to buy your tickets through the university, but IPTAY is totally different. I could be wrong on that. If I am, 803-404-6100, I will learn a little bit about how the IPTAY Club and the Gamecock Club exactly work their business this morning. Can be a fun morning for me. The other question we'll throw out there this morning is, if you talk about it, now you got all this money coming in to coaches. You got all these coaches are making money. What's the proper turnaround time? What's the proper rebuild time? Like, Billy Napier is getting $7 million. And thank you, by the way. I had 2 different text messages saying, not sure on the Gamecocks, but correct on Clemson. Yeah, IPTAY not affiliated. So IPTAY can take whatever Clemson fans donate. And the IPTAY Club, by the way, just to finish that conversation, I thought I was right on this. And again, anonymous texter is telling me I'm right. And that's a difference. That's a massive difference between the 2 universities. Don't think that's not a massive difference. Like, IPTAY can say, oh, we want this money specifically donated to help our football program, where if you're a South Carolina donor, you go to the Gamecock Club, you say, well, I'd prefer the money go to the football program. Gamecock Club goes, well, we appreciate it. We're going to use it for graphics, for something that, for, women's softball, or for men's soccer, or for the tennis, where we think it needs to go. I believe that's how it goes. But the other question I'll put out, 803-404-6100. In today's age, in the transfer portal, Patrick, we're seeing more and more with this transfer portal. How quickly do you expect a university, a football program, to be turned around now? What is the ROI on your investment? If you're Florida, and Florida was just in the SEC championship game a year ago, so I don't know if it's necessarily a rebuild or a turnaround, but if you're Florida and you're paying Billy Napier $7.2 million, Patrick, what's the proper amount of time he gets to get them back to the SEC championship game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of know what you're going to see in 4 years, but it's also cyclical. Like, you honestly never know. There isn't necessarily a right amount of time, and I do wonder if it could really go one of 2 ways. And I guess certain schools will always be more or less patient than others. But if you're making $7 million a year, does that mean, hey, pressure's on, bud, better win right now, or else you're going to be gone? Or does the university look at it and say, okay, well, we're paying this guy $7 million. We clearly made a large investment in him. We're kind of on the hook for it either way. So let's just let it play out. And it's going to make us look bad if we had to fire the guy who was making $7 million and eat up all this extra money. It might make them just stand by the guy more. But at the same time, the fan base is important and how they feel about a coach. And most schools, once the fan base completely sours on someone, it's hard to get them back. Like, we've seen it here. Muschamp was never going to get the South Carolina fan base back, even if Ray Tanner and I guess Caslin at the time, or Pastides, had come out and said, hey, we're not firing Will Muschamp, so either get on board or get lost. They were never going to come back. So it is difficult, and it seems like with social media and everything, the fan base is kind of more united in terms of just groupthink, and you can kind of tell pretty quickly just on message boards and Twitter and how people respond to certain threads, how they feel about their coach. And yeah, once you've lost the fan base, unless you pull a 10-win SEC championship season out of your rear end, it's really hard to turn that opinion, that group opinion, it's just a mob mentality is really what Twitter and the message boards and everything is created.
It's totally different world. 803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. Oh, Scott is up next on the Love Chevy phone lines. And Scott, you're calling back in. We appreciate it. We didn't hear from you yesterday. You were the one, you said you'd do a donation if Alabama beat Georgia. How's that donation going?
Hey, man, I was going to do it yesterday, but I figured today being the 80-year anniversary of December 7th, 1941, and that Mr. Larry had served, what better day to not only donate $100 to the Wounded Warrior Fund because of a lost bet, but also just take a moment to let people know. I know we have our heroes out there, and we love college football, and we have our what we call our new warriors, I guess, our football warriors or what have you, but our real heroes, our real warriors fought in 1941. They fight to this day to keep us safe and to keep us in the luxury of getting to watch these guys play football on Saturday and Sunday. And I just heard y'all talk about the massive amount of money that's going to these coaches. Take a moment and think about these soldiers that aren't getting paid an eighth of or a percentage of that to defend our country and to be true warriors and to be true just patriots of our country. And like I said, in about 30 or 40 minutes, 80 years ago, our lives were changed by what happened in Hawaii. And I just hope everybody takes a moment to not only remember those that their lives were lost, but those that their lives were changed forever, and the memories that they have to, they've had to live with for 80 years of what happened that day that might have been there. So take a moment, do that. And like I said, Larry had a great pick. Obviously, I was wrong. He was right. And I am completely honored to donate that to the Wounded Warrior Fund. And I was actually going to donate at least half of it, whether he won or lost, for him and for all those today, being 80 years since December 7th, 1941. And God bless y'all for giving me a chance to just take a moment and think about our true heroes and our true legends that fought for this country.
Appreciate that, and thank you for that. And yeah, good for you. And Gamecock Larry certainly, yeah, he got that prediction, and he called the he put I don't know if he called the Gaffney upset of Dutch Fork, but he put Dutch Fork on upset alert and also got that one correctly. So good for him. And yes, a different day. So I think a special day for us as we remember all of those who served, as Jen pointed out, 80 years ago. In
it always falls on Army Navy week too, right? It
does
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty
unless it's on a Saturday, or would the game fall?
I think there might be a rare occurrence where a December 7th is a Saturday, which would be like Championship Saturday. I think the way it kind of falls. But yeah, by and large, Army Navy week this week, and we'll get into that more as we go through. Brian Edwards will join us, by the way. As he does each and every week. I talked to him last night a little bit. Tough night for him, by the way. He's a Florida Gator fan. And in case you didn't see, did you see what happened to the Florida Gators last night?
Winless team.
Johnny Jones, the former coach at LSU, is now the coach at Texas Southern. Texas Southern went into Gainesville last night as a 23-point underdog and lost to number 20 ranked, Texas Southern beat number 20 ranked Florida last night in Gainesville, 69-54. Their Texas Southern was 0-7 on the season. Florida was 6-1, and again ranked 20th nationally, and was a 23-point favorite. And Texas Southern knocking them off last night. Led the majority of the game too. They were up big late. Florida scored a couple baskets there in the final minute to make it actually look a little bit closer than that game was. But Brian Edwards will join us on Thursday to give some basketball picks, some NFL picks, and the Army Navy pick as well.
Did you talk about the Bills Patriots game in the first segment at all?
I watched the first half. I watched a little bit of the third quarter. I was into it more so because of the weather.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was really into it because of the weather, and I was disappointed that the part I saw didn't have the massive snow flurries that had calmed down by the time that they started the game, and I kind of was sad about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the snow that was the craziest part. It was just the wind was insane.
Right.
I tried to watch the Manning cast as long as I could for it, and some of the videos though were just nuts. Like, I think they might have been overselling it, but one of the first punts, the punter for the Patriots dropped it and it moved a little bit to the right, and he kind of shanked it off the side of his foot. I mean, if the wind was that absurd that it's blowing a punt sideways just between the hands and the feet, I mean, it's nuts. And a ridiculous game plan. The Army Navy thing made me think of it because people were saying that Bill Belichick came out there and ran the Navy playbook, because winning a game with 3 pass attempts is absurd.
It was if you were going on your television screen, if you were going from your right to left, you were going into the wind, and it was so bad that I don't know if you saw, I retweeted a video last night from Barstool Sports that was there, and it was a field goal attempt in pregame that basically got, I don't know, within about 5 to 8 yards of the goalpost and was blown backwards and sideways, essentially, and didn't get there. It was about a 25-yard field goal that didn't exactly make it, and it was a fun game to watch.
Tyler Bass is not used to that. He's from Columbia, and I think they said he told the sideline reporter, yeah, I'm comfortable from about an extra point, and that's it.
Well,
and not even comfortable.
And to be honest, Bill Belichick, who, again, the mastermind there, he goes out, and on the open, after their first touchdown of the game for New England, they were going into that win. He didn't even try the extra point.
Yeah.
He just said, we'll go for 2, and we'll take our chances there. So it was a fun game. We'll talk more about that. We'll continue on the Love Chevy phone lines as well. A couple questions out there this morning. One, I mean, we're just discussing the way college football coaches are being paid these days. Absolutely ridiculous amount of money that is going out to college football coaches. We'll continue that. And we're also discussing now, what is the expectation time frame for turning around a football program? You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. cold this morning, or cold for me and for Columbia, not quite cold for Buffalo. But either way, your heating and air unit, it better be up and working perfectly fine. Now, if not, well, you're going to feel like you're in Buffalo when you wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. or whenever, and it's about 40 degrees outside and your house is colder than that. And, well, then the family's not going to be happy with you. And quite frankly, is that what you want? You want your family to be unhappy with you? Don't make that mistake this holiday season. Call AAA Heating and Air. Don't let the Grinch steal your heat. Call AAA Heating and Air. Get them out today for an inspection. 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Right now, $59 for an inspection of your heating and air unit to make sure everything is working properly and that you will be good for the winter. Trust me, there's nothing worse than your heat going out during the winter. Don't let that happen. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. You need to tell them, hey, Bill Gunner, the short guy on the radio station, heard him talking about you, wanted to give you a call, get you out to the house, make sure our heating and air unit is working great. If there is a problem, AAA Heating and Air will offer you a $1,500 buyback of your old unit and then work with you on a brand new unit. For those who qualify, no money down, 0% financing, and the best part, a 15-year parts and labor warranty to keep that heating and air unit working. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Yeah, we're good.
Cut that back on. We're good.
Yeah, we are now. I think when I just said, yeah, we're good, Jen had not turned us off yet.
Got it.
I think I said, yeah, we're good on the air.
Yeah, I've been screwing around with it all morning, so just to... All right. Yep. Oh.
Gamecock Larry was a bit choked up from Scott's sentiments. He appreciated that very much.
Although last night I didn't really help. I ate buffalo chicken dip, so we might have a run of soup here in the next 48 hours just to get myself back healthy. Yeah, I think Iptay, somebody said on the text line that Iptay still decides where the money goes, but with Iptay, there's still a little bit more there's more of a dedication to putting it where it would help the most. Let's just say that. And I don't mean that like in a nefarious way. It's just there's more of a dedication that we're going to take care of the basketball or the football program than I'm watching this Unnecessary Roughness, the most awkward video ever. Does it have the sound? Let me see. All right, I'm going to play this.
What is it?
I know it says the most awkward video ever, and it's like, I don't know what exactly it is. Like, there's a band, there's cheerleaders, Lincoln Riley. It says, welcome head coach Lincoln Riley, and then like, I don't know exactly. It's unnecessary roughness. I don't.
Yeah, play it.
It's a 2 minute and 20 second. I'll have to look at this later. Yeah, it's I don't know what that. I'll retweet it. It looks uncomfortable. Looks like just Southern Cal is just running out of things to do there. No,
It's just the cheerleaders doing a very long dance.
Yeah. Hey, here, yeah, you saw it, RL. Good morning, Hope. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Windy. It was windy out there. Anything you hear, anything you see during the day, you can't quite get in touch with one of the hosts here to give your hot take, don't worry. 107.5 The Game in Twin Peaks gives you a chance to speak your mind whenever you feel like it. It is the hot take hotline there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call 803-978-6654 if you need to vent. The Twin Peaks and 107.5 The Game hot take hotline, giving you a chance to speak your mind whenever you feel like it. 803-978-6654. It's sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go see him down in the Vista at 600 Gervais Street. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. Again, some football news from yesterday, Patrick. Mario Cristobal being announced as leaving Oregon. He did a lot of weird things yesterday because there was a press conference with he and Oklahoma for the Alamo Bowl. He did participate in that. He then was able to have a meeting with his players at 2 p.m., I guess, West Coast time, to tell them that he was leaving Oregon to take the job at Miami. But he will be the new head football coach at Miami. And real quick, from a Southern perspective, Miami, ACC, SEC, recruiting and everything, is this the guy? Like, it feels like Miami, every time they hire somebody, they celebrate. Like, this is our guy. This is Al Golden. Oh, he's Al Golden. Here comes Al Golden from Temple. He turned around Temple. He's going to turn around Miami. Al Golden's final days was a absolute beating at the hands of Clemson. In comes Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz, his father was, I think, the mayor, I believe, of
Mr. Miami.
Mr. Miami. Manny Diaz is the homegrown son. Back, he's going to turn everything around. Had a really good season. Not so much everything worked out the last two. Now here comes homegrown son Mario Cristobal, former player, former assistant coach.
Manny Diaz, but with a better resume.
Is this, and by the way, you see Miami, and it looks like investing in football. $9 million for Mario Cristobal's buyout, $8 million in contract money. Is this where Miami turns a corner and we see the resurgence of Miami again for a few years?
I don't know. I mean, who are you most? This is the worst that collectively the state of Florida has been at football in a very, very long time, right? Like, Florida State is at their worst in decades. Many decades. Florida is down right now, but I mean, they did play in the SEC championship last year, so they're not that down. And then Miami has been down for years, but collectively, like, no one in Florida is at the level that they expect to be. Has there ever been a time where the three major Power 5 schools in that state have been this bad?
No, I'm just trying to think back.
I mean, 3 coaching changes, and this was year 2 for Norvell.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 coaching changes in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
All 3 of those jobs. So I don't know. Somebody's got to come out of this and seize control of the state. I assume it's Florida. They have the leg up just for being in the SEC. But I guess I just don't know enough about, like, the deeper rooted problems at Miami. And is it going to be an eligibility problem for some of the big time players because of it's such a difficult school to get into? Are they going to build their own stadium close to the campus so students can actually go to the game and they can have an atmosphere there? Because Miami games stink. They look like Southern Cal games.
They're
where
great.
Just no one's there.
Well, they're great if it's a big time game.
Yeah,
it's a phenomenal environment if it's a big time game. But you're right. The
Miami and Southern Cal are just both incredible locations, like just palm trees and everything, and it looks beautiful from the overhead shots. And then in the stadium, no one's there.
It will, Miami, again, I think there's a lot of people listening this morning who you grew up seeing the dominant eras, the 2 separate eras of college football for Miami. I guess you were a lot younger. You were about, 4 or 5 years old when Ken Dorsey and Jeremy Shockey and all those guys were really rolling again in 2000 and 2001. For me, I vaguely remember the end of the first Miami dynasty there in the early 90s. That ended for me.
Mine is more looking at all these superstars in the NFL and saying, oh, wow, they all played on the same college team together. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, again, the Miami dynasty is an entirely different thing. It's been roughly about 18 years in that era, about 19 years, 17, 18, 19 years, where Miami was a true force in college football over a period of time. And Mario Cristobal comes back, being that they're in the ACC, being that South Carolina still wants to go and recruit, excuse me, the Miami area. It is interesting to see if this will be the hire that gets the Miami Hurricanes back. And again, as I'll say, at 803-404-6100, I know not a lot of you out there Miami fans, but is this the person who brings Miami back? And Patrick, to our point, what I've asked this morning, an $8 million contract. What is the time frame given to Mario Cristobal? Because correct me if I'm wrong, Manny Diaz got 4? Is that right? Is it 3,
went
4?
By quickly if it was 4.
It was
I'll
quick.
Go ahead and check.
I mean, Manny Diaz, and it's not like Manny Diaz was ridiculously bad at Miami. 6-7 his first year in a rebuild, 8-3 in his second year, and 7-5 this past year. 3 years.
19 to 21.
So if you're going to replace him with an $8 million a year coach, and he's inheriting a team who's off of back-to-back winning seasons, 8-3 and 7-5, and in the last 2 years has combined to go 12-5 in the ACC, 12-5. So we're not much like Billy Napier is not taking over a complete rebuild in Gainesville. He's taking over something that maybe just needs an oil change. I think Dabo used that when he was talking about the takeover from Tommy Bowden. Miami's not exactly a program that's in the gutter. This is a program that's got some really good players. They've recruited decently the last 2
I'm
years.
saying 2021, they were second in the conference. 2020, they were third in the conference. And 2019, they were fourth in the conference. So they're actually
in their
recruiting
division.
fairly
Their
well.
division. Their division.
Oh, in the ACC.
Well,
I'm just looking on 24/7.
Okay.
The 2019 ACC team football
Gotcha.
team rankings,
Okay.
and 2022 or 2021. I'm seeing that they had 22 commits, 2 5-stars, 12 4-stars, 90.51.
Oh wait,
average.
are you giving me the recruiting rankings?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about.
rankings,
Thought you were talking about the actual standings after the season. Mario Cristobal is going to be the perfect example. If you got a lot of money, I think James Franklin, Billy Napier, James Franklin, because Penn State's a more prestigious program than Michigan State. I think that's fair to say. I would say the Penn State in terms of football.
Yeah.
Like Mel Tucker is going to be very interesting in signing that $9.5 million extension. That's going to be wild too. But Penn State's going to have much higher expectations for James Franklin than I think Michigan State will for Mel Tucker. Florida's going to have exceptionally high expectations for Billy Napier. Miami's bringing back the homegrown son, the second homegrown son, and they're going to have high expectations. How long do you give those three coaches, those three in particular? James Franklin's been there at Penn State longer, but how long do you give those three to do something with their program before the fan base becomes upset?
Well, I don't know. Penn State fans seem to be accepting that we're never going to be a national championship team again. Like, I don't know. I think the expectation level has dropped in Happy Valley. I don't really know the reason for it or what's going on there, but it sounds like they've almost just surrendered that Ohio State's going to take all the best players they want in this area, and we're just going to take the leftovers. And James Franklin is probably the best we can do because he is not. They were horrific in the COVID season, and then last year he gets extended because they became a top 5 team for like 2 weeks. Is that what we're doing now? If you just have a good start to the season, it's like the Kevin Sumlin thing where Texas A&M would just start out 6-0 and be a top 10 team every year, and then just flutter for the SEC play. Like that's what happened with Penn State. I don't know. I think we all just kind of accept that James Franklin's a good coach because he won at Vanderbilt, and I guess that's it. And like, he's just widely accepted as one of the better coaches in college football. That's why his name was getting thrown around for the LSU job and all these other big jobs, despite him not really having accomplished much. So I don't know with a guy like that. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I really don't know enough about how Penn State's been recruiting, but it seems like something's just missing there. I don't know if he can get them to the next level. It's weird how we've all just acknowledged, like, yeah, he's a good coach, and then don't take it any further.
This is his 8th year. He's wrapping up his 8th year in Happy Valley. Did not go to a bowl game last year. I think they opted out. Remember, pretty much everybody went. They went 4-5 last year. That's his only losing season. He's had 3 11-win seasons. He has made just 1 Rose Bowl there. He did go to another Big 6 New Year's Day game.
The Rose Bowl was a good team. That was with Saquon Barkley. I think that was the one Sam Darnold had the awesome game that pretty much guaranteed he'd be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, back-to-back 11-win seasons, 11-3 and 11-2 in 2016 and 2017. He went 9-4 in 2018, and then 2019 an 11-win season in which they went to the Cotton Bowl and finished ranked 9th, Patrick. But you look at those guys, and Billy Napier's the other one. Again, not taking over a rebuild. He's also got Georgia in his conference or in his division that he's got to overcome pretty quickly. And I think Billy Napier, $7 million. Now you talk about Mario Cristobal. Allen hits us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line and says Miami is a used to be. And then anonymous texter says Cristobal wasn't even all that good at Oregon. Very interesting to see where Miami's going to go with this.
Is Oregon a hard job? I mean, I don't know. Did he make the most of Oregon? I mean, Oregon's been to national championships and college football playoffs, so I agree that he was, I guess, good at Oregon, like recruited well. I think he recruited the state of California well, but I don't know. Maybe I think there's a part of it where that job's going to get a lot harder with Lincoln Riley in Southern Cal now because Oregon's not going to be the premier spot on the West Coast for you to go.
There's enough recruits out there. And
California's a huge state.
California's a huge state. Oregon.
I was interested to hear the discussions during championship weekend. I never really thought about it, where they said when Pete Carroll was at Southern Cal, teams in the Midwest and South didn't bother going to recruit the biggest 5 stars in California just because of all the resources it takes to get out there. And you knew that every kid from California was going to go to Southern Cal. But when he left, it just opened the door, and all of a sudden, in the wake of Pete Carroll leaving, all of the best players from California were leaving the state. So now Lincoln Riley seems to have kind of blocked off Southern California now, at least with the top recruits. The number 4 recruit in the country, Damani Jackson, went to Mater Dei.
Mhm.
He was there visiting with Eli Ricks, the LSU corner, who also went to Mater Dei. So just right there, they're probably going to get 2 5-star corners, and it's not going to take long for them to rebuild that program with Southern California kids. So if they're not staying on the West Coast and Oregon's their only option, or I mean, I guess Washington's had some decent teams, but there really were no other options for you to go play at the highest level of college football and compete for Pac-12 titles or college football playoff berths. Maybe now there is a reason to.
I think there's enough players out there that Oregon will be able to hold their own. It'll be interesting now to see again what Oregon did. They were prepared. Oregon was prepared to offer Mario Cristobal a extension in line with the bigger contracts that we've seen in recent years, Patrick. And so there's no doubt in my mind, Oregon's going to look around now and say, okay, we're going to spend $8 to $10 million on a new head coach, whether that's Chip Kelly. Brian Harson's name was a name that I saw thrown out there yesterday, the current Auburn coach. I really don't know why Oregon would go that direction, but it'll be very interesting to see what direction Oregon elects to go now and what names you see pop up on their list. The Carolina Panthers yesterday, Patrick. The Carolina Panthers, an article on Sports Illustrated coming out mentioning potential offensive coordinators. There was an interesting name on that list. I'll give you that name when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Boy, Eric on the live stream is adamant. Ricks will be a Buckeye. Oh, York. Jury duty. Find a way out. Find a way out. I've all kinds of ideas on that, but good luck. Find a way out.
Yeah. All right, Nate just caught on to the joke. I was wearing the Alabama jacket and said, well, I've been on Alabama all year. He said, has anyone razzed Patrick about saying he's been on Alabama all year? Parentheses, live stream from Village, but picked UGA to win it all as a 4 seed back in August.
Let me go back to Sports Illustrated.
That was the bit. I've been on Georgia since early summer, and I'm going to stand by it.
Craig, I don't think I've ever had jury duty either. I don't remember. I don't know if I've ever. I guess if you get a summons and you don't go, you probably are in trouble, because I don't know if I've had a summons and I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it confirmed, but it does appear that Aaron Feld will be going to Miami with.
Oh, did I saw
Mario
a video
Cristobal.
popped up of him doing something stupid? Yeah, I need to get into
that. Did you see the family photo of Marcus Freeman?
He's got 6 kids.
That's 6 kids.
Yeah, he's 35 and he's got 6 kids.
And none of them are twins.
Well, when you're a college coach and you're on the road recruiting and you come home for a weekend, you tend to.
There were a lot of Irish Catholic jokes made about Marcus Freeman when the picture of his kids came out. So he's really embracing the Catholic lifestyle.
If you're married and you've been on the road recruiting and all of a sudden you come home for a weekend, if you're not using the proper medicine or techniques, 6 kids, pretty easy to
unreal.
What we'd have to do is go back and look at their birthdays.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and see if their birthdays coincide with 9 months earlier, a big victory in football.
Just looking at them, it does look like it's pretty much
just one
a year. Yeah, I mean, it looks like his oldest is a son who's probably 15, maybe.
Well, he played. He's linebacker at Ohio State.
His youngest is probably 6, 8. I don't know. I do like him, though. I've never really seen him speak or do anything, but the videos Notre Dame has put out, I've liked. I don't know who the guy have you watched any of the social media videos Notre Dame's put out?
I haven't.
I don't know who the gravelly voice, maybe strength coach or something coach there is, but the guy that introduced Marcus Freeman to the team, he's a character.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, Craig. Poor guy's been on the road recruiting for like 7 to 10 days. Comes home, wants to spend a little quality time with a wife. 9 months later, child number 3. Same thing happens. Child number 4.
So right now I may have the touch screen fixed. Because I'm a junior engineer.
That is how we view you, as junior. Yeah, I'm just gonna start calling you Ed Junior.
So is a swift kick to the face just the easiest way to just get my point across, or?
Well, I don't know why you'd kick Ed in the face. That's
Exactly. Well, we'll see if it goes crazy or not, but we'll find out. It can always be unplugged again. But it's making me crazy because the cord isn't long enough. So when you're talking, then you have to kind of like reach, and it's like, okay.
Well, you do bar 3. Look at you. You're flexible. I saw you with your leg that one day.
Yeah, going back today, I haven't been for the last 2 weeks because I couldn't because of the surgery.
That's what I was thinking. I need to go see it. I was going to go see Masani yesterday. My stomach's iffy this morning. I'm probably if I wake up and my stomach feels iffy, I probably get more nervous than like, oh God, and which causes more stress. Which
Exactly. No, I've had those. I have my IBS days where it's like, oh, going to the gym, is that a good thing or not? But
well, mine was more like a wake up and like I'm like, okay, I hope I didn't do anything wrong. I better.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking I'll pick Austin up to the gym. Dude, they're having all kinds of problems. I'm go over to Ansley. That's what I spent the first 30 minutes like texting with Amanda. They sent an email out yesterday. Some kid on the bus like threatened to shoot the school up. Yeah, probably just a kid being stupid. But they reported him, and so he yanked the kid out, and he's up for expulsion. I don't know if I told you last week they were in the gym. This was Wednesday or Thursday. They had an email Friday. It was 2 girls, and a girl pulled out a pocket knife on another girl and just like threatened her, but then put it up. Of course, Ansley was scared to go to school today. Of course, Ansley, not that I disagree with her, but Ansley can be a little, you're talking about Megan, like
yeah, a little extra balance.
And Ansley knows right now she's because of the Megan.
I suspect that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Marcus Freeman from what I've seen already. I think I think he's going to be a better head coach than Luke Fickell would have been.
There was other college football news yesterday as well. Patrick, you and I kind of talked briefly. Again, there was so much going on yesterday. that we didn't get too much into Heisman performances. We did mention Kenny Pickett, but Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Kenny Pickett, Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end for Michigan, named the 2021 Heisman finalist. But Bryce Young, like minus 4,000 to win it. I already see a grimaced, unhappy look on your face about that. But Bryce Young appearing to be the odds-on favorite to collect the Heisman Trophy. Will be the first ever Alabama quarterback to win the Heisman if that is what occurs on Saturday night.
I'm over it. I'm over it. I mean, everyone's saying it, but I mean, Will Anderson needs to be one of those four. I mean, the stats are ridiculous. Well, I agree Aiden Hutchinson should be there. CJ Stroud doesn't need to be there. And I mean, Will Anderson has 91 tackles, 31.5 tackles for a loss, and 15.5 sacks. He's got more of everything. He's got Aiden Hutchinson has 58 tackles. Will Anderson has 91, 15.5 tackles for loss for Aiden Hutchinson, 31.5 for Will Anderson, 14 sacks for Hutchinson, 15.5 for Will Anderson. So he's better in every category. And I think Aiden Hutchinson is awesome, but this is the year. I mean, there's a lot of good defenders. The offensive crew is okay. I mean, Bryce Young's really good, but he'll have another chance to come back and completely dominate college football next year. He hasn't lit it up every game. I want my Heisman Trophy winner to basically dominate every game. That's what Devontae Smith did. That's why I was happy that we had a receiver win it, not a quarterback for once. Devontae Smith dominated every single game and then came out and had 200 yards receiving in the first half against Ohio State in the national championship before he got hurt. Joe Burrow threw 4 or 5 touchdowns every single game and over 300 yards. He dominated every single game. Lamar Jackson was electrifying every game. Like, Bryce Young has taken games off. He was not good against Auburn. People were talking about that last drive sealing his Heisman moment for Auburn. He was bad the whole game. He had under 50% completion percentage in that game, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like he's just been incredible all year long. I think he's awesome, and I think he'll one day probably be a number 1 pick. But this is the year. Give it to a defender. Will Anderson has been nuts. He and everyone in the draft world is saying if he was draft eligible, he'd be the clear-cut number 1 pick over Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson, who are also going to go head-to-head for the number 1 pick because they're both just freaks of nature, but Will Anderson's better than everyone.
Yeah, Richard weighs in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line and says, who is Will Anderson, Patrick? That's the reason he's not there because I'm asking who he is. Now, Richard, you might be one of the few who
Probably
doesn't know.
pay more attention to college football.
Yeah, you might be one of the few. Will Anderson, the outside line. He's more of an outside linebacker, right?
Yeah,
outside linebacker for Alabama.
I mean, he just won the Ben-Eric Award for the best defender in college football, so you should probably know who he is.
We'll get into that. There's a report on a Fan Nation Sports Illustrated site about Carolina Panthers offensive coordinators, Marcus Satterfield included. How about that? We'll talk about that in hour number 3. It's the early game, 107.5 The Game.
All right, that was Richard's probably not going to be happy about that. Could have been nicer about that. Yes, yeah.
Well, I do worry about him having a job.
Yeah, Paige Becker just heard everybody's all freaking out.
Who's their freshman? Azzy or Easy? AZZI Fudd. AZ Fudd? Is that how you say it? It's an awesome name. Let's see. I'm watching the play. Ooh. Ooh.
What?
She was just bringing the ball up. Ay. It looks like she just hyperextended her knee, just bringing the ball up the court.
Okay, now I'm going to have to look that up.
Here we go. Getting Twitter doctors. Yeah, RL it was. It was. Let's see. I just watched the video. 45 seconds left, and they were up by 18. So she definitely hyperextended it. Looks like the things you're worried about when someone hyperextends their knee is, one, you can have an ACL tear, or probably more likely a bone bruise from hyperextending, according to Dr. Jordan Gruske.
Before she crossed midcourt, it looked like something happened.
Not today, York. I'm looking right now. Clearly, I'm missing out on a lot of things. Oh, yeah. She just slipped. I guess, I don't know if there's a wet spot on the court, or she... Yeah. Just bringing the ball up. This was a ridiculously slick goal, by the way. Cale Makar's so smooth. That kid played in the Frozen Four, and then the next week got drafted and was playing in a playoff game less than 2 weeks after playing in the Frozen Four in college. It was awesome.
Yeah, Dawn, they tried to go for Fudd.
I think everybody did. She's the best recruit in a while, right?
Yeah, I think she was.
I just saw she signed some deal with Steph Curry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. York, I'm looking through the replies. I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, wow, I didn't see this part. Oregon lost all three of their top commits.
Damn.
Yeah, one of them was Tanner Bailey. Tanner Bailey was the quarterback South Carolina thought they were going to get before he ended up switching, or he decided to go to Oregon.
Texas A&M has 3 of the top 10 recruits in the country, and they still don't have the best class in the SEC.
Yeah, they flipped a kid from Oklahoma yesterday.
Yeah. Still not the best in the SEC. 4 of the top 21 players in the country. Oh, I didn't know that. Connor Weigman. Yeah, maybe Quinn Ewers will be best served not to go to A&M.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go to A&M. Sounds like Texas Tech. Oh, that was a wild play. Hit dude on the face mask last night. Yeah. Yeah, Eric, I agree. I think Ewers is going to go to Tech with Joey McGuire. He's going to go somewhere he can start from day one. I think he's going somewhere where basically they're going to promise him the job.
Dang. Bear Alexander.
Final hour of the Tuesday program. Hope you are up, rolling along, out the door, staying warm. A little chilly this morning. Going to warm up a little bit more, although we get 3 straight days here in the 50s. So a little bit more like holiday season weather. Maybe you can go out and cut down a Christmas tree if you've not already done that, or you've got the fake tree going up. Jen, let's see, Patrick's the fake tree. You go fake trees, right? Or
When I'm on my own, I have just a mini tree.
Mini tree?
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
Christmas trees prices are skyrocketing.
I'm not.
Definitely.
I don't have my own ornaments, and I'm not personally set up for Christmas decorating. I don't have enough. I haven't accumulated enough things. I've lived by myself for 5 years, but I've had roommates all the time. And I just don't have like a box of Christmas decorations that are my own. So I need to build up that before.
See, that
I
was
actually
like
get
one
my
of
tree.
definitely one of the first things when I had my first apartment and whatever. I made sure, I think it was October. I don't know if it was Halloween yet. I had my tree up. I had been kind of accumulating some stuff in anticipation, just because that I just love Christmas. So that was like super exciting for me. I'm a little weird, but that also could be a female thing. Guys maybe don't care as much.
No, I mean, we don't care. I don't care to put the stuff up, but I do like having it up.
There you go.
Like, I like being around Christmas decorations. Like if I'm at my parents' house and they have all the Christmas stuff up, or my girlfriend's house and she has the stuff up. Same with Halloween when they have all the stuff out. I do
You
like
appreciate
being,
Mhm.
but
festive.
I
You like
can't.
feeling in the mood of the spirit of the season, whatever the season is.
I haven't ever taken the effort to put it up, or I guess it's more about just justifying the cost of buying all the decorations. I haven't done that yet.
You can save.
I
You
need
can-
to start making more money before I do that.
You can save. You can go to one of the local stores around here. I'm sure you get the lights are relatively cheap. You buy a small.
Yeah,
tree.
lights are cheap.
Lights are cheap. You can buy some of the little colored like red or white or blue or silver. I guess the balls that you can hang on the tree there that are always neat.
Yeah, some of the dollar stores actually have a lot of that kind of stuff. Get the after season specials, that kind of stuff. That's because that's kind of what I did. I started getting stuff. Of course, when I was younger, I would get a few ornaments here and there, like people gave to me and stuff. So, yeah.
No, are you what is it? I forget how they define this, but like a fancy decorator. I forget the exact term for the people who have like the bows and the tree matches. Like you've got a color scheme, a color coordinated tree. If you've been though, you guys have probably been somewhere where you've seen that, and they've got like a red, a Christmas ribbon, and the ribbon comes all the way down the tree, and then they've done a color scheme of like red and maybe like the white Christmas balls. And you don't just have like my tree has like sentimental ornaments. I have a ornament of like the dog that I got right after college, Butters, the old Butters, the dog who passed away a couple years ago. We have a Butters ornament. There's a ornament of me as like a baby that was given to me, or that maybe I made, I don't know, years ago.
I think that's what most people's are, right? Like you see in
some of the decorator, like he's talking a decorator tree.
Like what you'd
literally
see, you'd buy the kit where you'd buy like the red and gold balls, and
there's nothing personal about
right.
it. It's
right. I think we had filler, like we had boxes of those, like green and red and whatever, but throughout the years we put less and less on because we had more of our own ornaments, and now I think we've just completely gotten rid of the filler ornaments, and it's all just.
I'll change out the ribbon. There's a ribbon I use, and every couple of years I do something different with that. But no, it's still kind of the standard same ornaments. If I want a decorator theme or something, I might do like a 4-foot tree someplace and maybe do that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's kind of, to me, it's the sentiment of the season. I'm not going to do a parade of homes through my house, so it's okay.
Seems fair. Seems fair. 'Tis the season. 803-404-6100. If you got a favorite ornament around your house you want to weigh in. I'm trying to think. I do have a really good one. I got one that I got. It says "Welcome to Paradise." It really has nothing to do with Christmas whatsoever. It's just got some like little martini glass. It's a little plastic one, but it's like got some martini glasses on it, and it kind of seems to fit the scheme of where I live and lifestyle and everything. And then I've got one that was given to me that's a square, and it's actually really well done. Probably picked up from a Walgreens or something, but it's like a glass, but it's got pictures. It's got 4 pictures of me and the kids on it. Like it's actually really well done.
I just got one made.
Far fancier than something I would ever think to have made, but pretty neat. So.
I do have a 4-foot artificial in I have an office at the house, and it has more things like some ornaments from Butler, where I graduated, and then it has a lot of Muppets, like a lot of Kermit the Frog, Muppets. The Mayhem Bus. I love the Muppets.
Okay. The Muppets, I probably said on the show, the Muppets with John Denver Christmas album is #1 on my dad's Christmas playlist. So on Christmas, that's all we're hearing is the Muppets and John Denver singing all the Christmas classics.
You know what I'll be listening to tonight now to check
out
out
some
the
pretty
Muppets.
Good. Yeah. I mean, it's what I've grown up on.
There you go. Your dad raised you well.
Yep.
803-404-6100 is how you can join us. Anonymous texter said, just tuned in. I'm guessing it's a slow sports day. No, we just spent 2 hours talking about sports.
Exactly.
You just non-sports topic we've discussed.
It really is. We're just coming back out of the segment. We've had a ton going on all morning, and all we did was talk about this. This is the great part about radio. You only catch 15 minutes, and then you go to a message board, and you're like, oh, those guys, that's all they talked about this morning. That was awful. But bad radio, they never talk sports.
Do you guys have a Christmas pickle?
Huh?
Do you have a Christmas pickle on your tree?
I actually don't.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
An ornament of a pickle.
Yeah.
Christmas pickle is a quintessential ornament to have. We have a Christmas pickle. I don't know where it came from, but
there is I could look up the story. Yeah, there's something about the Christmas pickle. Yeah.
I like the Christmas armadillo.
No. Thanks, Ross.
In tradition, an ornamental pickle is placed on a Christmas tree as one of Christmas decorations. On Christmas morning, the first person to find the pickle in the tree would receive an extra present from Santa Claus. Or be said to have a year of good fortune. Okay. It's a Polish tradition.
Then that would make sense.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to go get a jar of something today and just hang it all over the tree because I'm looking for some good fortune next year.
I think actually the Polish and the German argue over whose tradition it is.
Who started the Christmas pickle?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. All right. 803-404.
Of course, Hope does. That doesn't surprise me.
6100 is how you can do that. Yep. Hope on the Buford Lending live stream where you can weigh in says she has a Christmas pickle on her tree. I hope on the tree. Is it a real pickle? Is it an ornament? Like, you don't get a real. I don't know how long those last out of the jar.
It's glass or metal or whatever.
Okay. That's a new one on me. That is brand new. 803-404-6100. Now we have spent 2 hours talking sports because there is a lot going on. A lot of our conversation is centered around the incredible amount of money that we are seeing being thrown around. We knew college football was changing. We talked about this in August. Oklahoma, Texas going to the SEC. You could tell that college football was changing. But Patrick, I don't know if we saw the rapid rise in coaching contracts or if we expected the rapid rise in coaching contracts like we have seen in the last 2.5 weeks, really. This is
who was the first to bring it to the next level? Lincoln Riley?
I think Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly and although I take that back, I think you'd say Mel Tucker, right? The news coming out of, but what had Mel Tucker done to deserve an extension worth $9.5 million? $9.5 million. You saw James Franklin followed up with $7.5 million. You saw Lincoln Riley close to $12 million. Brian Kelly's at $10 million. Billy Napier comes in at 7.2. Lane Kiffin's at 7.5. Yesterday, the news that Mario Cristobal will be getting $8 million at Miami. Like, the numbers are staggering for a sport that seemed to go from $5 million unless you were a championship level coach. $5 million seemed to be a lot unless you were Dabo Swinney or Nick Saban, championship level coaches, multiple national championships. And it's like overnight, Lincoln Riley's never won a national championship. Lincoln Riley's never played in a national championship or never coached in a national championship. James Franklin's at 7.5, has never coached in a college football playoff or a national championship. Mario Cristobal is going to 8, never coached in a playoff or a national championship. You get the point. The numbers have risen so dramatically, and it's like we blinked and we're into a new era of college football coaching contracts.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The only person who's gotten one of these monster contracts that actually has a national championship on their resume was Jimbo Fisher, because we went through it. Sure. It's Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, Ed Orgeron's out now, Mac Brown, And who else has won a national championship? Is that it?
Brown, Sweeney, Saban, and Fisher.
Yeah. So 4.
Four.
Yeah. So really, all you're doing is you're getting Brian Kelly, and Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly were the same thing. They would win 10 or 11 games, relatively weak conference, weak schedule. You have 1 or 2 big games every year, and then you go to the college football playoff and you get absolutely throttled by an SEC team. And both of them left and did kind of the opposite thing. Brian Kelly went to the SEC because he thought that now we can get the caliber of player that I need to actually win these games. And Lincoln Riley left because he said, well, now I guess I can do exactly the same thing. Or somehow he thinks that if I just take all the players from California, I can take the next levels. But yeah, it was those two. And then if that didn't happen, if Lincoln Riley, if Southern Cal had hired, I don't know who else was the top names for that job that didn't have a job. If they had hired somebody that came from a mid-major or whatever and said, okay, $8 million is, and and LSU hired someone else for $8 million, $9 million, is Billy Napier also making $7 million, or was that trying to just, they felt like they needed to get closer to what LSU and Southern Cal are paying? Like, is it just they're going to make us look bad if their coach is making double what we make and we fancy ourselves a program on the same level as them? Like, did they break everybody's brains? Was Billy Napier set to probably make $5 million a year or $6 million a year, but because Brian Kelly's making double digits, now Billy Napier has to also get a raise by default? And for South Carolina, does South Carolina, just so they don't look like the poor little brother of the SEC, have to give Shane Beamer a raise just because everyone else is doing it?
I don't, and we've had a lot of people
optics are everything in college football.
We've had a lot of people weigh in this morning. You're paid what you're worth. And I think South Carolina is going to be an interesting.
No, you're paid what somebody's willing to pay you.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That's true.
You're not even paid what you're worth in college football at this point.
You're paid what somebody's willing to pay you. And right now, if Shane Beamer had gone, we'll see what the Brent Venables contract is at. I agree. I think we're thinking $6 million is probably, don't you think?
On the low end of what it could be.
I mean, is there a number that would realistically, like, yes, if it comes out as $10 million, we're all
That'd be
shocked.
crazy,
but
yeah.
Is 7? Would you
5 to 8? I won't be surprised.
Okay. I just
8 would be high though.
It would be high. The reason I say that is because if Shane Beamer had gone to Oklahoma, if he'd legitimately been a candidate and gone to Oklahoma,
they'd have doubled his salary.
What if he been in the $7 million range?
Yeah, because don't these programs that think they are the best of the best? That's the thing now. Even if there's someone willing to coach there's plenty of people that would be willing to coach at Oklahoma for $3 million because you're the head coach of Oklahoma. It's a blue blood. You're going to be one of the top teams in the country every year. I'll do that for $3 million. But the candidates that you want, you just have to pay them because that's what everyone else is doing.
Well, Daryl, and I apologize, somebody else, I think it was Travis on our live stream, on the Buford Lending live stream, brought this up, and Daryl brings it back up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. He says, on the coaching salaries, weren't the schools just crying financial ruin in athletic budgets because of COVID just 18 months ago, and now these salaries? Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's the other part. You have coaches taking pay cuts last year across college football.
But you know what? That wasn't even about financial ruin. They just felt bad saying, okay, well, you're out here making $5 million a year while half of your fans are sitting at home, unemployed, relying on stimulus checks and things like that. It was completely just a bad look. And that's why they felt guilty about making so much money. They knew they were going to get it back. I don't think it was anything actually about the schools crying financial ruin. I just think it was a bad look.
I mean, again, I think it's incredible where we have gone with college football. And I think the bigger picture is now as we continue to see the evolution and probably the conversation we will have at the end of the month as we get closer to January 1st is what's going to happen with the college football playoff. And if you expand, one part about expansion of the college football playoff is more games for television to gobble up, more revenue to pass along to schools. The revenue that schools are getting, and this is why the television deals that the SEC will probably sign, the Big Ten has already got a pretty good television deal. We'll see what the ACC, the Big 12, and the Pac-12 can put together here over the coming years. But that's where the money's coming from. I'm not sure the revenue paying for these these coaches' salaries are coming from tickets sold. And quite honestly, if you're going to want full stadiums, I think you're gonna have to come down on ticket prices.
Because people have said that this is gonna end up. The bill always ends up coming to the fan, the consumer, at the end of the day, and it's gonna be a vicious cycle. All right, well now ticket prices are more expensive. All right, well now the stadium doesn't look as good, and now it's empty, and you're going to have recruits there at a half-filled stadium because half your fan base can't afford to go to a game anymore because you're paying your head coach $15 million a year.
But haven't they said that part of the reason that they're able to facilitate these increases in salaries is because of TV contracts?
Right.
The television contracts are going to be. Again, the financial aspect of college football this was not the case 5 years ago. Okay, 5 years ago, we were not talking about the financial aspect of college football, but with each passing day, whether it's name, image, likeness, whether now it is college coaching salaries, whether it's the television deals, the money being driven into college football is unbelievable, and it's putting college football on a path to competing with. Not the NFL. The NFL is never going to be nobody can compete with what the NFL does financially. I don't know if you guys saw the story last night. Like the NFL, how they control things, like allowing players. Patrick, you probably are a little bit more familiar with this, Jen. I don't know if you saw yesterday. I didn't really pay attention Sunday because we were doing the Village Idiot. Yeah. We were at the basketball game, and I went to the lights. But they had my cleats, my calls, right? My cleats, my calls. You could wear cleats that were outside of the NFL uniform policy. You go, well, that's stupid. Doesn't really matter. Well, they get fined if they wear cleats outside of their call. So last night they had a story on Stephon Diggs, who had a specialty cleat last night. He wore Call of Duty cleat in honor of an Army veteran who was injured, I believe, in service. And he's now able to auction those off for a charity of his choosing. Well, the NFL they control their money so much they don't even allow players to have their own personality in the game, right? Like that's
all they can do is wear them in warmups. So you see guys warming up in custom cleats, and they have to take them off for the game and put their normal cleats on.
And see, I have a real issue with that because everybody's feet are different, and I can promise you, I was once told that my feet are literally like putting square wheels on a car.
But they're not they're custom shoes, like Adidas or Nike or whatever can make. These were custom like. But the point being here is the NFL controls the money. College football still is not in full control of players in that manner. I mean, I don't think maybe you get a flag, but a name, image, likeness. If Bo Nix had come to Columbia and been healthy and scored a touchdown and lifted up his jersey and underneath he's got a
Milo's
sweet tea, and he just I mean the NCAA,
they can't find you.
They can't find you for that. You do that in the NFL, you go running in, you hold up your jersey.
It's going to be $25,000.
Yeah, you're donating whatever endorsement check you're getting from Milo's Sweet Tea goes straight to the NFL's in control of money. But college football, you look at the prices, you look at name, image, likeness, you look at everything that's happening financially. It's quickly moving up the list. Patrick, is it fair to say it's surpassing the NHL already? The NHL did sign a good television deal, but it's insane. And we'll see where it continues to take college football. And
more people know more college football players than the NHL. Like Bryce Young is not more famous than Alex Ovechkin probably, but he's probably close. But I mean, more people probably know Aiden Hutchinson than one of the, 12th to 20th best players in hockey.
Yeah.
More people may have heard the name Ovechkin, but probably is it reasonable to say more people have watched a college football player?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure college football games are getting. I would like to know what. I guess I can look this up. The SEC CBS game on Saturday gets in viewership versus the ESPN primetime hockey game of the week.
Look up because I believe I just saw it yesterday. Ohio State, Michigan. The numbers from the Ohio State Michigan contest 2 weeks ago. I believe it was one of the the most watched regular season college football game in like the last 4 or 5 years, something ridiculous.
15.9 million viewers.
It was
highest rated, most watched regular season game since the LSU Alabama game 2 years ago.
Okay,
Joe
2 years
Burrow
ago. You're right. And 15.9. I guarantee you Ovechkin's got to play, what do you think, 15 games to get 16 million viewers, basically? About 1 million views. I don't know. That's probably a little low. I'm probably going way out of control there. 803-404-6100. That's
ESPN had a doubleheader. Their opening night doubleheader averaged 884,000 viewers.
Okay, maybe I'm not completely wrong on that. 803-404-6100. So yeah, college football continuing to evolve right in front of our eyes. We'll get into more college football news from yesterday. There was a transfer from South Carolina. There was some Heisman finalists announced, and we'll get into some other things going around the world of college football. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. That time of year that you need a little extra money in your pocket. And if you haven't done some investigating with Buford Lending and Benji Getzy regarding how you can save money with your home mortgage payment, then you're missing a golden opportunity. Cash out refinancing is the rage. It's all the rage right now. And you, with a little bit of equity in your home, might be able to get some money back in your pocket here before Christmas time. Definitely in the month of January. You just need to call Benji Getzy and Buford Lending today. 843-524-2404. Again, the cash out refinancing game is dominating the refinancing markets as customers taking advantage of increasing property values nationwide. The combination of high-flying values and record rates have provided excellent opportunities to cash out for Christmas gifts, home improvements, maybe a vacation in 2022. Good grief, we all need a nice vacation, and now would be a great time to call Benji Getzy and Buford Lending. 843-524-2404. Just thinking about cashing out, getting a little bit of money back in your pocket. Yeah, you can use it on Christmas present, but you can also use it on a great vacation that you're already setting up for 2022. Call Benji Getzy and Buford Lending today. 843-524-2404. Let Benji and his experienced staff earn your business today. Call for a free evaluation anytime, day or night. 843-524-2404. That's Benji Getzy and Buford Lending. It's actually more than that, Anthony. You must only be able to look at the you're only able to look at the YouTube. We got more from Facebook. So it's a pretty good little community.
We got 24 people in the bowl pick'em pool right now.
Nice.
If you have not joined that, go to any of our Twitters.
Yep,
I'll follow the link.
I retweeted it yesterday. I'll retweet it again today. We've run it up the ladder to get some prizes and gifts for the winner. So we will do that as well. I believe.
Need to make my picks.
Who was it? Was it Trey is our official commissioner?
I think Trey should be hopping on here pretty soon.
If he wasn't already up, Trey will be our official.
I think he'll let us know when he jumps on. I think it's usually around 8:30.
Okay.
Awesome.
I usually just stick with what you handed me, and then I kind of make it up as I go along. TSO and hot take hotline.
Tomorrow, just
be the hot take outline. Hopefully, we'll have something else to talk about.
You gonna go meet with Terry today?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, we're going to catch.
I was thinking about when I was walking in, my head was pounding. I was thinking about texting him, being like, "I'll do it tomorrow," but I'll go up there. I can't do an hour and 45 minutes though.
Well, I don't know if it'll take that long. He's
Chuck made the 44 picks. Anthony's in. There you go.
Yeah, same. I just did the 44 picks purely based on gut feel, but I'll look at some things and reevaluate. You have until the 17th to. I think you basically have until kickoff for the first game,
which is Friday, not this Friday, but the next Friday.
Yeah. Trey made a group message on the Pick'em that says a group for the listeners who do not microwave their bacon.
And I guess I have to back out.
Yeah, I took the Georgia/Michigan. You didn't pick Alabama to win it necessarily. You took the winner of the Alabama-Cincinnati game, Chuck. You could have very well taken Cincinnati to win it all. Don't sell them short. Yeah, come on. David beats Goliath sometimes. Probably not this time.
Tomorrow night, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is at Colonial Life Arena. There's still time to purchase tickets. Go to Ticketmaster.com. Show starts at 7:30 tomorrow night. I'll be there kind of fired up for that. First time that I will see Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You can go as well. Tickets, again, Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity aiming to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Again, that's Trans-Siberian Orchestra tomorrow night, 7:30 at Colonial Life Arena. Get over there and check that out. You can go to Ticketmaster.com. Again, a portion of the proceeds benefiting Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity that aims to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. Talking a lot about coaching contracts is, again, we've seen so much happen in really the last 10 days regarding Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly. We will await the news of Brent Venables' contract. We've seen extensions to Mel Tucker, to James Franklin, Mario Cristobal coming in for $8 million a year. Billy Napier, Lane Kiffin gets an extension. Absolutely ridiculous times. If you got an opinion, 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. And Brent is up next this morning. Brent, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Good morning, guys. Like you guys were saying, just looking at these contracts, in particular, I think the ball really started with out of the blue, Mel Tucker, the $95 million 10-year deal with Michigan State. Here's the big thing here. When you have a booster like what Michigan State has, who played under Izzo on the basketball team, he was a backup or a walk-on or whatever, who takes over, him and his brother take over his dad's wholesale mortgage company. This dude's worth $6.7 billion with a B. So $95 million deal, when you got a couple of boosters or donors who are worth that type money, it just skews it to a whole nother level. And then it gets back to here at USC. And right now, as an alum, I'm a little ticked off because right now we got a bigger issue, and it's a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but we got a lot of people who look at our current board of trustees and how we don't have a president and how that whole fiasco is going down and how we're alienating some of our biggest donors to this school. You got a lot of people saying, well, I don't want to give, when we got the current board of trustees not being good stewards of money, when they gave Muschamp money, when he didn't do anything in Florida. So, and we don't have a big time donor like the guy in Michigan State. We're relying on SEC money. And thank goodness we're in the SEC because we would be far behind where other schools are. And I think Shane and Coach Beamer is doing a great job. But it's going to be higher ups, in the administration. The board of trustees have to change. The culture has to change for South Carolina to even go to the next level. You guys have a good one.
You too, Brent. Thank you for the phone call. Yeah, I mean, look, fan bases, alumni, the clubs that are associated with the particular universities, the football programs, they will play, Patrick, a larger role moving forward. You're going to have people who come out and are ready to sponsor or help or endorse. I don't know, use whatever you want to use to describe what the name, image, likeness will be like and where money comes from coaching buyouts or whatever it may be. Yesterday, the news coming out, Texas offensive lineman. Every Texas offensive lineman on scholarship will get $50,000 annually for use of their name, image, and likeness to support charitable causes. It's a new nonprofit entity that was announced. It is called the Horns with Heart, the Pancake Factory program. It will start in August of 2022. Organization said it hopes to expand the program to other football position groups and Longhorn athletes in the future. The name comes from the pancake blocks linemen sometimes do during a play. It feels like somebody who is not affiliated with football at all wrote that out.
Yeah.
There was somebody, the PR person is not sure how many points you get for a touchdown, but you get the point. And it doesn't have to be a great PR person. It just has to be great donors who are ready to step in and help. And look, I mean, Texas 5-7 this year, not going to a bowl, Steve Sarkisian, but every Texas offensive lineman on scholarship, there's 16 of them at the current moment, will get $50,000 annually for use of their name, image, likeness to support charitable causes. It is the Pancake Factory. It is part of Horns with Heart, the program. Now, I will be honest, I saw 2 weeks ago Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark with Gamecock Central. We were tailgating together. We didn't go into deep detail because we were just kind of catching up, talking family and other things and not really talking business. But I know Gamecock Central has started the Garnet Trust program. You can go to Gamecock Central and check that out. But, where boosters, how boosters get affiliated, alumni, this is all above board. And Patrick, we're talking about these coaching contracts and where money's coming from, television deals, ticket prices, membership dues to the Gamecock Club, what have you. It's part of the continued evolution of college. I say it's college sports as a whole, but we know, at least here in the South, what's driving the almighty, where the almighty dollar is going to. It's part of the reason that I think we all believe Ryan Kelly left Notre Dame to come to Florida State. Not that Notre Dame's not investing a lot of money into football, but LSU, Will Wade's over there making his strong rear end offers to recruits based on help from whomever else. A lot of that money in LSU is funneled into that football program to make sure they're championship competitive each and every year.
And a lot of eyes are turned the other direction.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's just is what it is. I mean, what can South Carolina do, to his point? I mean, it's unfortunate that Michigan State was blessed with a $7 billion former basketball player who absolutely loves the program and will do anything and spend any amount of money to keep them relevant. But I mean, when you don't have that,
You don't
What
have
is the
to,
way forward? I mean, that is just the way it is. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, you don't have to have that. I mean, you don't have to have the. It's nice to have the one that. It's
One
nice
guy
to have
that's
the Phil
single-handed.
Knight. It's nice to have. Look, I mean,
Dick Corbett.
but yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have. It's nice to have that one person. But the bottom line is, it is
Well, it's not everything. I mean, Maryland has Kevin Plank,
right,
the founder of Under Armour. What has it done for them? I mean, people associate Maryland with Under Armour and the Maryland flag stuff and all that, but they haven't won because of it. They're not getting out there and pulling whatever head coach they want to come to Maryland, and same with Oregon. I mean, Oregon is known for their flashy uniforms, but they've not won a national championship. It's not the end all be all.
It's going to become part. I mean, there's going to be so many small pieces to college football. I believe, yeah, there's going to be television money. There's going to be a lot of television money. There's going to be boosters that are looking to help with coaches. There's going to be boosters that are looking at these name, image, likenesses and how they can do things above ground or below, below board, whatever you want. There's going to be everybody wanting to get involved for their program, and name, image, likeness is something entirely different. Remember when we all freaked out? What was it? The Miami? Was it? It's not Dan Campbell. What was the bring back the U? Your mic's off. Nobody's hearing you.
The MMA gym owner.
Yeah, I was going back. Bring back the U or whatever it was. As I type it in,
I don't know how you could remember that name.
That one's easy to. That was an easy one. But
no, the name of the guy.
Yeah, I don't. But he ran the MMA gym and was offering basically so much money to each and every Miami player starting this year. And look, now they're firing their coach at the end of the year. And look, this is where boosters, kind of like the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are what a
publicly
traded company where I guess you got management and they can weigh in. Boosters are going to start having more say in what they're more so like Auburn, where the boosters basically run the program. Yeah. Like it's going to be interesting to see, and I think it's going to be a while here.
Where did the Auburn? Is it a couple boosters, or it's just that's the nature of Auburn?
I don't know how involved the Auburn booster was.
What did he do?
He basically tried to have. I think he basically was the guy behind Tommy Tuberville being fired and meeting with Bobby Petrino.
But like, how did he make his money? I mean, the number one wholesale mortgage lender in the nation. Well, I don't even know what.
Bobby Louder is his name.
Yeah.
I have zero. This is before my time. I say before my time. He's an American banking executive. Okay. Doing well.
Umbrella term that we just say, okay, banking. Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So but I think a lot of people get the point.
This guy, Matt Ashiba, that the caller was talking about, in 2019 broke the all-time record of wholesale volume in 1 year with over 107.7 billion in mortgage originations.
So you go to compete, probably not happy today as he puts money into that program to see Michigan, a hated rival in the college football playoff. 803-404-6100. Back to this. Let me get back to this article that I had here. It's on Sports Illustrated. It's part of their Fan Nation, All Panthers. Skylar Callahan, Patrick, last night, putting out a look at who could be. That's not who he wishes. I look at who could be calling the offense for the Carolina Panthers next season. A couple names he throws out there. Jeff Nixon says Nixon's relationship with Matt Rule goes back to the late 90s when the two got their start in coaching at Penn State. They rejoined forces at Temple in 2006. Nixon coached the running backs and receivers while Rule was the defensive line coach. Nixon was the offensive coordinator and play caller in 2007. In 2009 during Matt Rule's time with Baylor. So that's a name that's being thrown out there. Another name, Sean Ryan. Ryan is the quarterbacks coach for the Panthers this season. And it says, although the quarterback play has been below average, it's hard really to place much blame on Ryan's shoulders. I don't know if you're going to go with that. Quarterbacks coach, you blaming him for Sam Darnold? And
I don't know. Maybe he had nothing to work with.
So yeah, he's another guy. You scroll down the list, fourth on the list, Marcus Satterfield being mentioned. Now, again, it's a Fan Nation website, but it is on the Sports Illustrated webpage. Marcus Satterfield is a name that shows up here on this list. Patrick, it's hard for me to believe that Marcus Satterfield would be the guy that Matt Rule brings back to run the offense for the Carolina Panthers, but I guess anything's possible at this point in time. We're seeing coaches get multi-million-dollar, almost $10 million a year contracts. Who knows? Is this the way out for Marcus Satterfield to take the Carolina Panthers job?
Yeah, that's a win-win for everyone unless you're a South Carolina and Carolina Panthers fan. That just seems like a absurd suggestion. I mean, other than just looking at people that Matt Rule has been connected to, I mean, if you follow this program, you should know that guy's on the hot seat. If you cover the Panthers, you should know that he's on the hot seat. But I mean, I think you just start looking around at who has Matt Rule connections. Oh, this guy was on the staff last year. Okay, this makes sense. Maybe he hasn't. Like the little write-up he said was Satterfield has a ton of experience calling plays. However, he has yet to do so in the NFL. Well, he has yet to do so successfully in college football as well, it would seem right now. So that's a wild suggestion. I cannot imagine that he will be considered. I mean, Matt Rule is close to finding himself on the hot seat after being one of the darling head coaches in the NFL about a year ago.
I was about to bring that up. Like he's 5-11. He was 5-11 last year. He's 5-7 this year. Matt Rule's, he was rumored. I take it for what it's worth. Baylor was throwing around. Oklahoma was throwing around a million different names there at the very end. But
and I think a couple months ago, I think it was Kirk Herbstreit on game day that said, hey, the first call I'd make if I'm Southern Cal is Matt Rule. Make him say no to you first before you do anything else.
Yeah.
And I genuinely thought the way things were going, he was going to potentially try and throw his hat in the ring for one of these jobs. And now there's not a big enough opening, but I mean, he's not going to get fired this year. I wouldn't think. He's already made Joe Brady his scapegoat for this year. He'll just go and try and get a quarterback next year. But if he was the decision maker, if he was the guy in the room that said, we need Sam Darnold, this is who I want, and it wasn't just handed to him, then that's a really bad look. And you've really hurt your future with Sam Darnold because you're going to pay him $18 million next year to be your backup quarterback. You can't go in there with him to start of next year. So I would not be surprised if there's a huge job opening next year and Matt Rule sees the writing on the wall if he just tries to go back into college.
Does Matt Rule push, providing everything can work out, does Matt Rule push David Tepper harder for Deshaun Watson in the offseason?
He should. He should have to.
Like you get a new offensive coordinator, that's one thing, but Matt Rule is becoming kind of like a Will Muschamp type guy in terms of like, oh, okay, you're supposed to be great defensive mind, real good defensive mind. They've drafted defensively the last 2 years, but your offense is the problem. And now you see Cam Newton performing poorly. Well, you blame that on Cam. You take the chance on Sam Darnold, that didn't work out.
You paid all the money in the world to Christian McCaffrey. He can't stay on the field ever. You're about to be spending $30-something million between Sam Darnold and Christian McCaffrey next year, and there's a pretty good chance neither of them are going to be on the field for the majority of the season. It's not a good starting point.
We'll see what happens with Matt Rule. Hard to believe that Marcus Satterfield would be the guy that they are targeting, but at least one website seems to think that. Fan Nation, the Carolina Panthers website on Sports Illustrated. 803-404-6100. We will wrap this baby up. It's the Tuesday episode of The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Feeling some pain, ready to get rid of that, want to start 2022 off on the right foot, feeling great and getting yourself moving again, it's time to call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860, the non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics, no surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and here's the best part, no downtime. It's really exciting stuff, and you need to call QC Kinetics today, 803-281-6860. Get a free consultation. No steroids, no opioids. Doctors that focus on regenerative medicine with biological technology that can help get you feeling better. Don't let doctors keep giving you steroids. Don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics today, 803-281-6860. You've been suffering from inflammation. You're not moving around the way you should. You're limited in your mobility. Don't let that continue. Make 2022 the year that you get back to living the lifestyle you want and you deserve. 803-281-6860. Again, all consultations are free, so you can find out what they can do for you. QC Kinetics, again, is at the forefront of regenerative medicine, and they are working with you. Natural biologics, no surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and again, no downtime. 803-281-6860. Call your local medical professionals at QC Kinetics today. 803-281-6860.
Matt Ashiba.
Matt Ashiba.
I read a wild article on The Blaze about the Mel Tucker deal and how there were a couple weird parts in there. One part said that Mel Tucker connected Mel Tucker and Mia Khalifa, and I was looking and I was like, that cannot be true. And I don't see anything on Google about it. It seems like
I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, I'll read the. Oh, never mind. It was a weird. He was trying to make a weird analogy.
So Byron Leftwich is who Casey, when he called in a few minutes ago, said
For the Panthers?
Yeah, he said it's the head coach.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, he's not going to be the offense coordinator. He could be the head coach. Yeah. Yeah, he's on a quick trajectory towards being a head coach.
That's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, it didn't take long. They have great coordinators in Tampa Bay right now.
He was is he the Marshall quarterback?
He was a Marshall quarterback, yeah, and then played for the Jaguars for a long time. That was his main NFL team. Ended at the Steelers as a backup for a little bit, and then went right into coaching, and yeah, has been crushing it in Tampa Bay. I think Bruce Arians was very outspoken about how ridiculous it was that he didn't get a interview for head coaching position this offseason. Byron Leftwich.
Byron Leftwich.
Yeah. I mean, he's still not old. I don't even know if he's 40 yet. Let's see. He's 41. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one thing on Gamecock Larry's phone call where he was like, who did he call old?
He
called somebody old, and I was like, oh boy.
He's the guy's like 65.
Yeah.
Oh, he could be.
Oh no, it was David Cutcliffe. He was 67.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's old. I was like, oh boy. Well, just leave it off that part.
Oh, somebody texted in and was like, "Is Gamecock Larry okay? Why are we doing? I heard something about doing something in his honor." It's like, oh,
It's in his honor, not his memory.
yeah.
So I noticed that everybody's falling off the podcast. Right, if you look at the podcast page, remember
They're just not putting them up anymore.
Well, like today I've got one. What else?
Yeah.
I honestly started every segment.
There is, until it's on Apple and Spotify, it's pointless. I don't know why we can't get them on Apple and Spotify.
But it's like,
Well, I just mentioned that today.
Yeah.
Although mute everything.
Because I've had friends ask about that too. They were like, why? Most of my friends don't wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So they've said, can I go back and listen to it? I was like, not really.
And so if I'm late, because you guys might talk about kind of the same stuff in the first segment and in the second segment. So it's like, it's all good content, but it's, like, it's all still talking head coach here and talking.
Yeah, we tie in all of our segments. I mean, that's where Heath's are pretty easy to put podcasts up because it'll just be like, I'll just do hour one open, whatever the main story is, top 5 at 5, and then some guests, and yeah.
Like continuing to talk about,
right.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, you're thoroughly covering a topic. So it's like entitling them. I guess that's where I struggle.
Yeah, our segments aren't broken up into one topic or the next. Whereas I guess just that's the nature of being by yourself. Heath has it regimented. All right, this segment I'm gonna talk about this, then I'm gonna talk about this, then I'm gonna talk about this. He plans out his entire show before the show starts, and we just come in here and get into whatever we get into. Yeah.
Wrapping up the Tuesday edition, 8:53 here on a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, Jen Jensen. Stanley gets the final word here this morning as we've been discussing coaching changes. Stanley, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Oh, doing all right. How about yourself, fellas?
Doing good.
All right. Well, a lot of us talk about Satterfield and OC, and there's been a lot of attrition over the offense over the year, over this whole year, between he's having to improvise, quarterback here, quarterback there, quarterback here. My biggest bugaboo with this whole offense this year is the O-line. How we have regressed and gotten, at the same time, gotten older. I know one of them got hurt. You know, you had a 4-star get hurt at the tackle. That didn't help. We got Javon Wynn, probably the strongest person on the team on the line. Eric Douglas, probably the smartest person on the team on the line. And you just couldn't get it together. You know, you had a better O-line team last year than this year. You had a 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, I'm not saying it's solely to blame, but I just don't want to. I don't want another John Hunt, you know, situation going 3 years, 4 years down the road, and we still can't. You know, we still got this enigma that's going on of the O-line. Like, well, let's figure it out. Maybe we need to get some buddies out of here or get some a coach. Who's the coach? We missed out on Atkins, right? That was Tennessee guy, or is that our guy?
No, that's our guy.
Atkins is our guy, and that's the one that had the COVID. Okay, so that we ended up getting him from Tennessee though, right?
No, that was Will Friend. That was
friend. But we were close to get him. And okay, well, just the O-line coach. I mean, if I don't necessarily need a coordinator said needs the role, but you know, a position coach for sure. I mean, something's got to change with that. I mean, because no matter who's at quarterback, who's at running back, if somebody's gonna block for them, then you know, they ain't going nowhere.
That's true. Thank you for the phone call this morning. So yeah, we'll
nailed it.
We will we'll discuss that more.
The offensive line could have been better.
We'll discuss that more later in the week. Hey, yeah. Well, it is what it is. All right. Bills Patriots last night. It was windy. Patriots pull out the victory. We'll continue talking bowl games. Patrick, good job. Jen, fantastic. And I was spectacular as usual.
Thanks.
We're
Thanks to Stanley.
Very confident in ourselves. It's been the early game on 107.5 The Game.
All right, going out with a bang.
That was something.
Good stuff.
No, Kentucky got Eric Wilfred from us there, RL.
Wilfred.
Yeah, I was hoping that he was going to have a pulse when he got on.
Tennessee, I don't know who their offense coordinator is. Yeah, and
doesn't matter. Their offensive coordinator is Josh Heupel.
I wasn't sure if he was trying to blame the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, the offensive players.
But I wouldn't suggest calling in to discuss the offensive line coach and then starting with, is Adkins the guy we missed out on, or our actual guy?
Yeah. One of those guys. One of those guys.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Good job, everybody.
Take care. Have a good day.